so we can go right into the presentation at 11. My name is B Sharp. I made a partial audiobook of Murky Number 7. It turns out it's a very long story. And that is, I'm friends with these two guys next to me. Down there on the left, or my left, your right, is...
Hello. I am Nathan Gold. I'm from Poland. It started out as a friend of this guy, who wrote me into being an editor for this thing.
Sorry about that. Okay, now you will actually hear an introduction.
Check. Oh, there we go. I can hear myself. Yes, hello, I am Napalm Gold. I come from Poland. I started as a friend of this guy. Then he roped me into helping editing this monstrosity. Other than that, well, I do a lot of role-playing games, and especially Fallout Equestria, as well as other projects. And, well, do a little bit of writing. And off to you, Sharp.
I also do the role-playing game thing, but that's neither here nor there. The important part is the person sitting in the center here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, GalaCon 2024. My name is Fuzzy, the author of Murky Number 7. Thank you all. It's been a long time since I've been back at GalaCon. The last time I'd been here, the world hadn't ended yet. So now that we've come into the successful second iteration of Earth, I am back here once again and very happy to finally bring my personal story to a convention panel for it. So I've been a writer for a good number of years. This is the longest thing I've easily done. I've done plenty others for it, and I'm really hoping that this panel can not only give you guys an insight into Fallout Equestria, but can also give a bit more general writing advice to people as well, from all of the lessons that I learned throughout writing a thing that is actually longer than the Harry Potter series at this point, which is kind of terrifying to really think about. So, I believe we shall begin there. So, obviously, maybe not everyone here has read Murky Number 7, and before we start, I'd almost like to do a quick show of hands. If you've read Murky Number 7, can you throw your hand up, please? Awesome. Oh, that's a good solid number. If you've read any Fallout Equestria, can you throw your hands up? Excellent. So, this is why I've got this here. So, Murky Number 7, for the uninitiated, is a side story, a recursive fan fiction of Fallout Equestria, following the tale of a young slave born into slavery, finding his own identity and attempting to escape his own bonds in Philadelphia, which, if you've read the original story, you know is the Fallout Equestria version of the Pit, City of Slaves. Initially, I just really wanted to focus on something that had a bit of a smaller overall scope. As much as it is a long word count, pretty much the entire story is set in a single city, and that was purposeful, because all the other stories at the time had these big globe-trotting party adventures, and I wanted to do something to stand out, which is where the whole idea of just trying to escape this one small setting came from, with more personal stakes. And somehow people seemed to enjoy that, and it just kind of took off without me expecting to. In fact, the funny story about that is the moment I discovered it was actually picking up speed was the moment that I was about 3 hours shy of going into a marketing meeting with Bethesda themselves. So maybe they'll tell some stories about that later. But first, as I always want to do, just a thank you, because ultimately, Fallout Equestria Murky Number 7 is a story that focuses on art a lot of the time. Some people say I cheated to get fan art by having an artist be the main character, but not the intent, I promise. Honest, maybe. It is a core theme throughout it, and I always say that the artwork that people created and what people bring to things is what really carried the story through those years. It carried me, it carried it to new audiences, and I always have to put a thanks to the great artists that did so much work for Murky in order to put that together, be it Haley in the middle doing the stuff for the book, or Crim Harmony's amazing work going through all of its kind of later years through to the upper left there from Chira, who I've had the chance to now meet, who did wonderful artwork for it, among many others. I'll have a full credits at the end. And I always say it's not just the artwork that hits it all bang on to the core themes that get you by and put things up. It's sometimes the memes that you never expect to see. Sometimes you get some very interesting ones come out for it, some of which can be funny, some of which can be, oh my goodness, what's happening? But it all works, it all matters, and all carries you forward. And I always encourage people to accept it when people are making jokes about your story. If people are doing that, they're just expressing their own enjoyment of it in their own way, be it from a gag about the characters, be it from a recurring mistake you made, or be it from that they've just chosen your husband, your character as a husband, basically. So it works every way.
Happens more often than you think.
It really does. So to get into the meat of this story here, and what it says on the overall introduction to the panel is, what's it like to write a 1.1 million word story? And within Fallout Equestria, there is a bit of a habit of going long with stories. And I'm maybe a bit of a hypocrite because I've always preached the opposite. You know, just don't feel you have to. But it does give you a ton of space to work. And when you know you're going in with 6 years ahead of you to write this thing, you do kind of need to plan it. You do kind of need to know your goal. So if anyone is going in looking to do such a big story, I'd always recommend having something in mind that you understand what you're going to approach, how you're going to put that together, and knowing what your goal is, where you're trying to reach. If you just start aimlessly wandering, that's how you get Fallout 76. And what you really want to do is get Fallout New Vegas. So I'm just going to throw that out there for it. So that amount of size, you can always have that burnout that can kick in. And it is worth it. That final rush can carry you through, but just go in knowing if you're going to do a long story, you are going to have that endurance race with it all. So I highly encourage anyone who's looking to do that. I've learned through experience, it can get hard. It took longer and longer to get the individual chapters out, so definitely bear that in mind. And as you go, embrace your feedback all the time. The longer your story goes, the more and more you need to do understandable feedback, you need to get critique, you need to understand where it's going and be able to adjust on the fly. Don't go crazy, but don't go crazy, but understanding that this is it's a crucial part of the process, and you need to respect that people who are generally taking time to write it generally have something to say. They might not always express it the best way, but try to look for what it is they're saying, which is why you get a good editor with you who can tell you to your face when something maybe needs changed. So if you maybe want to give a wee bit on that.
Yeah, the editing, oh my gosh. The reason for having the second opinion is really important because you need someone, like, as it says, like, you need to kill your babies. If the author comes up with something that they really like and they are blinded by the fact that they really do like it, someone needs to tell them, this sucks, this doesn't fit. This
I'd like to clarify, he used those words once.
you need to remove it. I mean, the other editor who isn't sadly here did kill the entire chapter worth of stuff. But yeah, ask for second opinions because you might be blinded by things.
So finding that candor is really important because it's not just that you need to get someone who can tell you truthfully what they think. You need to have enough of a maturity as an author to listen to that feedback, know what things to accept, take on board, know what things you don't need to change. Sometimes you will get feedback and you read it and you do need to think, actually, no, I believe I'm correct here. But being able to jump between, you're right, I need to change this, and no, I've got a plan in mind, I've got to stick to what I'm doing. That, I believe, is the hallmark of good feedback. When you can have that discussion with someone you trust is incredibly important and incredibly useful. Having the confidence to know your own thing, but having the humility to accept others' opinions is crucial to doing something that big when you get so invested over time. And over time, this is where we get to a bit more story content there. Long-form characters are going to be your vehicle. They give you all the material you need to get through that long, long, long story. It is something that you always need to keep track of where those characters are going to go. If you cannot write something that long and have characters stay absolutely static the entire time. So as you're building that cast of characters, especially in Fallout Equestria, where we like to have this sense of a party, it's very common that we build our casts with that sort of almost D&D mindset in mind. Consider not just what they are to themselves, consider what they are to the rest of the party, whether any of them have some connection, have some previous history, opposing viewpoints. As we see here, Murky and Protege, the slave and the slaver. That gave, I would say, a good solid 40% of the writing material of Murky Number 7, having Murky and Protege at each other's ends, having their debates over their positions in life, one of them being the slaver but nice, one of them being the slave but rebellious, and their debates over whether what was happening was correct or not within Red Eye's environment is I would say probably the core theme throughout all of the story, and it emerged from just putting those characters together, understanding they have that connection from the beginning. As they grow, they can begin to see each other's viewpoints, they can maybe change themselves, one grows more confident, one grows less confident, but maybe finds himself throughout it. That sort of approach is going to give people something to read every chapter, because every chapter you go through, you always want to have some new content for them to keep them drip fed of stuff happening. If the moment people start to feel you're just drifting aimlessly, you're really not going to get a lot of grip on your reader base at that point. You got to give them something. I've learned that lesson. People who've read the story know the part in the middle where I learned that lesson, and I'll come to that later. So, you've got your characters with their opposing viewpoints. How do you actually interact that into your story? And this is where there's the wonderful saying, "Screw you and I'll see you tomorrow," comes in. Characters who don't necessarily like each other or get along well, you want to keep them in contact. If they have a debate or an argument, it's a very common writing trope to have them split off in other directions and break apart. You've just lost all the drama that you've just created there. I highly encourage, keep them together. Glimmerlight and Coralie, for example, one of them hated the other one. And the other one wanted the other one's redemption, wanted the other one's forgiveness, but wasn't going to follow them because they were afraid of that bitterness. So keeping them together used the common form of Murky himself. Murky was the reason the pair of them stuck together, because they both wanted to help him in the end. So you have that debate always lurking in the background. You have those contrasting viewpoints ready to slam into one another. It gives you drama, it gives you interest, it gives you content to advance their story. And then later on, when people see that they've maybe come to an understanding, they can recall that journey. It's a very important step in designing your characters, having their little networks, and exactly how they think about each other. All right, so when you're bringing in those characters, I would also have your subplots, because your secondary characters do need to have their own agency in a story. And the example I've got here is Protege himself, who is, I would say, a fairly popular character in the story. For those who've read it, I mean, Protege, I get most feedback about there being a lot of big fans of him for it. If you're a fan of Protege, throw your hand up, by the way. Yeah. So you might have an argument later with someone up here. We will see. So his introduction was crucial. So when you're introducing that secondary character, you want to have their story up front. Protege enters in Chapter 3 as a slaver claiming Murky to his own stock. An evil thing to do. But in presenting him, he presents himself as polite, well-mannered. He feeds him. He helps heal him. This is a bit of a moral quandary. This isn't what we've seen thus far in the story. All the slavers have been hideous and heinous. They've acted very despicably towards our main character. And then here comes along another one who doesn't act like that. He seems to care about him in some strange way, but he is still part of that entire machination. There's an immediate question being formed there. That's what I mean by give them that immediate hook. The moment you bring in your character, you got to give them a reason to think, hey, where's this character? Where are they going? I want to see what happens with this. That's a crucial point to introducing them. And more importantly, have the other characters react to all that. Have the rest of your cast react to changes in characters. If one of them achieves something, how does that change their relationship with the rest? That folding back and forward is the hallmark of a long-form story, of getting something that scale and keeping people's interest from start to end by seeing where those characters go. You'll hear it a lot of the time. It's not about the necessary plot. It's about the characters. I sometimes disagree. I think people use that to dissuade the importance of the overall plot, but it is still important. So I definitely recommend keeping it in mind. Okay, all right. So let's move on. So I've talked a lot about what you're doing when you're working with a story point there, but I do want to give some back and say, well, what is it that you maybe get into storytelling through? And the first thing I want to throw out is, has anyone here written a story? Keep your hands up. Has anyone in here thought about writing a story? Has anyone here thought about creating a story in anything other than just writing? Does anyone have a story in mind? Anyone who doesn't have a hand up, you're lying. Whether it is listening to an amazing bit of music and thinking the fight scene in my head will be legendary with it, or whether it is just understanding your own experiences and wanting to put that through into something. We all have one story to tell, at the very least, our own. It's not just books. Tabletop games, comics, animation, acting, theater, all of these things are a form of storytelling, even into other mediums where people often think it's about something else. Music. Look at Jick Rowe's stuff last night. Amazing stories being told through just very minimal content with a great song on top of it. So with storytelling, it is the universal art, is what I like to call it. It is in everything. It has a place in everything. So whatever you're doing, whatever medium, think about your story. Have a little thought about where it goes. There's two schools of thought here. The architect, which is what I would say I am. I plan my length, my chapters, my summary of stories. The 3-act structures, having your beginning, your middle, your end. Excuse me. And your pacing curve there, you can see up there on the top right. It's very easy to fall into the trap of just starting at the bottom and then going whoop, up to the end. It's actually not very interesting reading a story like that. Start big, open with a bang, drop back down, understand your world, your characters a little bit, and then start to give them increasingly more intense challenges and events until you get to that end point, the climax. That's where you want to hit higher than you did in the intro. That is the basic, most standard pacing curve, and it will really help any story moving forward. I highly encourage people to maybe have a plan. With Murky, I had chapters 1 to 18 written effectively in Wikipedia summary form before I even wrote chapter 1. So it's that greatly helped me to understand my route, to understand what I'm going towards, and especially with the scale, knowing where I was. If you remember chapter 18, that is a Killing the Slave, it's called. You may remember that as the Journey to the Center of the Mind chapter, where Murky has a big attempt to survive through his own subconscious. That's probably one of the most pivotal chapters in the entire story. So planning up to that point in that journey was the most crucial part of initial knowing. Everything could lead up to that being the most satisfying moment I could possibly make it, with him eventually getting control of a part of a body he'd lost that had great thematic meaning. Thematic meaning? Oh boy, thematic meaning. Thematic meaning is a thing, but maybe not the initial plan. There is, of course, a different method of planning, and for that I will hand you over to my honest editor.
Yes, the other approach is so-called the gardener. Instead of planning everything like he did, freaking 18 chapters, you start with a simple bullet point list, for example, that has only the most important parts. It doesn't need to have to be long. Like, if I had to make 18 chapters to Murky, I would probably write half a page of stuff. Then you just build on this, expand, build, add things, link them together. It's a different approach that I find really works for people that are, well, how to say it, not that into planning so much, but it's very much a flow thing. You do that kind of things, and you can really see the story blossom forth, so to speak. That's why it's called like that, the gardener.
Sort of, we're using a lot of terminology, 3-act structure, pacing curves, etc. We've got a lot to get through, which is why I'm just giving the general cliff notes of it. If anyone wants a more detailed explanation of these, feel free to grab us after the panel. No worries, we're totally free for that. So you've got a long story, and in my case, even up to chapter 18, I had that all planned, had it in mind up to the point that Murky has his great survival and has his bounce off of the bottom part of the story into the latter half where things become a lot more heroic, more positive, more traditional storytelling. We've seen the intro of the character. Everything from 1 to 18 is the formative point of Murky's journey, where he was going to be trying to raise, falling down, raising again, falling down, and eventually finally getting to a point where he's made tangible progress. And I deliberately wanted that to be a really long part, to feel that hard journey. He starts the story as a coward. By chapter 18, he has become a protagonist. Excuse me. That was the crucial point. I wanted to see the beginning of that character with it. So stay on target if that's your goal. That was always the goal. that was always the target I stuck to. You have to believe in it. And in that case, you do need to chase that end. And as Goat said earlier, you do sometimes need to kill your babies, which is a wonderful bit of thing to hear out of context when you're giving writing advice. Someone just overhears you saying, kill your babies. Generally with that exact voice and that exact tone.
Very, very brutally, and you'll be very, very sad about it, but it will be for the better.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in writing. Like a good example in Murky was there was meant to be a whole story about a chapter where his friends actually found him a stable to be in under Philadelphia, and they were going to try and leave him in there because it was safer than being outside. And it was a whole story about him having to escape that stable again because, no, he wasn't going to accept a half solution. He was going to get out with his friends or not at all, and that was meant to be the initial point where he realizes that. Unfortunately, the plan for that stable, because every stable has a twist, the plan for that stable, it would have been about chapter 16 or 17 maybe, was that it was going to be a stable where all the ponies in it had removed their cutie marks to replace them with the same thing so that they would all be essentially equal and would be operating in the same wavelength. And they would all be, you know, maybe losing something of themselves with an overmare who was the only one who hadn't actually done that to herself. And
did you plan any songs for that?
Yeah. And if anyone wants to check the dates of the publication, this was before season 5. So I was like, really? Emmy Larson, get out of my head. You never know. You've got to be careful with that guy. So to that end, it's very, very easy to fall into the, oh, it would be cool if. And that's when you get those ideas, those things. That, in theory, even separate from the creative mental theft, that would probably have been cut regardless. It could have been fun, it could have been great, but it was ultimately meaningless because that realization that Murky would have had came only a couple chapters later in the big Killing the Slave chapter in 18 anyway. So why need that there? It was not going to move anything, it was just going to use up time. Same as why Frontier 6.2 was the other chapter that was so mercilessly murdered by my editors. It was already half written before they were like, no, don't do this. Don't do this at all. This is terrible. What are you doing? And that came right at the start of Act 3, after the Legacy of Aurora Star, the big battle on the mountain. And it was going to be some sort of, I won't go to the full deal, but it was going to be a bit like Edge of Tomorrow, if anyone's seen that. It was going to use memory magic to do a looping try to go through. But after Act 2 ended, the very clear bit of feedback I got was, no, you got to stick to your main story here. There is a lot to cover, and people are now eager to get into those climaxes at the end of Act 2. So understand when to just kill off an idea. The last thing I would say for getting into storytelling is start small. And that might seem obvious, but it's very tempting to just jump in at the deep end and go for something big that you've been thinking about for years, especially if you've not had a creative outlet. You will have an idea that's growing and growing and growing. Start small. The simple reason being, motivation and to write does not necessarily come from just getting motivation. It comes from a sense of success and confidence. If you do something, you're completing it. The more things you complete, the more motivation and more momentum you gather. So look for momentum, not motivation, is what I always say. I wrote a small 400-word thing when I was initially coming on to Murky. Then I wrote a 4,000-word thing. Then I wrote a 40,000-word thing. Then I wrote a 1.1 million thing. That kind of got out of control at some point along the way. But you can see the overall curve that goes there. And eventually it will build your confidence for it.
It does scale up. Like my first serious work was only 16 pages, which is, I don't remember how many that word that is. My first story was almost 100, like 96, 97. So it can get out of control, but your mileage might vary.
Don't look down on small stuff either. Looking down small stuff just means you have less space to work. That's a creative limitation that can create some wonderful things. Also, lots and lots of notepads. Have every notepad you possibly can. These are all from Murky Number 7. You can see pacing curves on the left. You can see the map of Philadelphia on the right-hand side there, actually, just to make sure I was consistent with my directions. Have all of them there, including that one on the top left that almost got confiscated on the set of World War Z because I was writing notes for Murky and they thought I was taking spoilers about the movie. As if you could spoil that heap of rubbish. So, we have a few minutes before the QA begins. So, a little bit on writing discipline. So, this is, we've kind of set on a lot of this already, but understand the scope of what you're going for. Know what your overall scale is. I went into it thinking I'd be doing something about 600,000 words. I ended up almost doubling that because I severely underestimated how long this would take. A lot of that came from that I felt like I was mandated to do long chapters because long chapters were just the thing in Fallout Equestria at the time. Don't fall into the trap of seeing what others are doing and feeling you need to do that to be part of it. You know, you can write what feels right for you. The second half of the story, I was writing for myself at that point. I knew what Murky wanted to be. The first half, I was sometimes falling into the trap of thinking, what needs to be a Fallout Equestria thing here? Some stuff happened in it that I was like, no. In the end, I went back and almost edited it for the book itself. Some people see differences. They're not massive, but they are there. You can often get motivation loss, writer's block, some people call it. I don't like that name because I think that makes it too much a writer's only thing. Anyone in here, any creative, I bet you can know the exact same feeling. It's more universal. Artists feel it. Songwriters feel it. Everyone gets it. Writers don't have a monopoly on it. Besides, we suffer enough with it. We want the rest of you to suffer with us. So, in this case for me, it was chapters 14 to 16. That would be the Lost Legacy of Legends through to The Only Way Out. Very dark chapters, which could probably have been done in one. But those chapters were where I think I hit my low point. I took over half a year to come back to writing chapter 16 after 15. A lot of people thought the story had died off. It hadn't. I was just having real trouble getting there. It was because I wasn't feeling as confident in those chapters. And they're what I would always consider the point that I lose a lot of readers. It's quite common to hear some people just found it a bit too bleak around then. And that was probably because I was feeling bleak with it. So understand where, what it can do to you. Try and find a way past it, in which case I would say regain momentum, not motivation. Once again, go back to just making sure you're writing something. There's a great saying that I express I cannot legally recommend people take literally, which is write drunk, edit sober. This is not based on a true story. Just because I'm Scottish doesn't mean that I just, like, this isn't unprepared whiskey or anything, With scheduling, don't get too bogged down in it. I would recommend you have a little bunch of them to begin with, ready to go at the start of writing so that you can get your audience. If people see something updating every week or every few days, that will build your audience, especially if you're using FimFic, which most of us writers do now for this community. It will not update you properly if you're taking months between them. You need regularity or it will not flag you in the homepage. So have a few in the barrel ready to go, but don't get too bogged down with it after then. It can just stress you out. So long as you feel you can maintain a decent pace, that's the main thing that matters with it. And I believe this is our last one before the Q8, but when you're playing the long game with it, and the first quote there is not actually mine. I have to attribute it to a very unexpected source, which was one Cliffy B of Gears of War, of all things. And I remember seeing him say this long ago during the ancient yore of the early 2000s. I'm sorry if I just aged anyone. So the first 10% of any project is just sheer enthusiasm. I want to do this. Oh, I've got a great idea. All right, let's get something down for it. The next 40% is all passion and drive. If this is something you genuinely care about, and in this case, this would be leading up to probably about chapter 12, the end of Act 1 for me. As you can see below there, 60 Minutes in Hell, which was the Russian roulette scene in Murky, which often gets called out as some people's quite favored one. That was passion and drive, carried me to there. After that, however, is where it entered the part where I needed to be disciplined with myself. I needed to sit down and say, right, what am I doing to get through this Act 2? Act 2 is the death zone. That is the part that most stories fail in when they hit. So getting through Murky's lowest points, getting back into meeting Unity again, having the build towards what Shackles' ultimate plan is, all had to come in there. There's a lot of world building, and in some ways it can be hard to avoid spinning your wheels. That takes a lot of discipline to your pacing and maintaining that throughout there. The last 10%, unfortunately, is just going to be hell. It always is. Anyone who's ever done any sort of big project, you probably know what I'm talking about. The last bit is a nightmare to get through. And in that case, and it technically wasn't the last 10%, but that started with the Legacy of Aurora Star, which is where the story had to start ramping up into its biggest, most epic moments. when every chapter had to start hitting it out the park every single time to finalize stories, to give the climactic moments for each secondary character along the way. That was exhausting. It was really, really hard to keep that energy up all the way through what was essentially 2 or 3 years of writing. And in that last chapter, I was having to almost physically drag myself to the PC again and again to write because it was grueling. Particularly when I got to the end, looked at the finale I'd written, and then decided that it sucked. And went back to end up doing another thing. Because the original ending, I mean, I'm happy to say some spoilers, but the exact ending is maybe a little too far. But the original ending for it had a much more vague, uncertain outcome for it. And it was going to be uncertain who he was speaking to at the beginning of each chapter. And whether this was someone perhaps in the beyond or someone more physical, whether what had happened to him at the end actually happened or not. There was going to be a lot of thematic and almost religious overtures for it. And the more I reread it, I just thought, this is not working. Like, people have read 1.1 million words at this point. They want a concrete ending to know exactly what happened. And this goes back to what I said earlier. Respect the time investment. If someone is giving you their time for 1.1 million words, you got to respect that. They're taking a lot of time out their day. And I always thank people for taking the time to read Murky. It is not a small time investment out of people's lives. We're all busy. We all have a lot of things to do. If someone takes that time to read something I wrote, I'm immensely thankful that they did. And they deserve an ending that holds to that. I think endings is often a forgotten art these days. Not a lot of stories are content to just put a definitive halt to them, particularly in mass media. I would highly encourage everyone, that stands out when you do it. Definitely pay attention to that.
I have a little question for the audience. Those people that read this story, the entire story, who here likes Wicked Slit? One person, two. Sounds fine. I've been waiting 8 years to say this. I fought so hard to have her included in the epilogue. So very hard. I'm so sorry.
I came here for a panel, not to be called out. Oh my goodness! You saw your shot and you took it. Congratulations, you won the war. Still not writing it though. Okay, so that's perfect timing to begin our question and answer. It's a good acoustics room, so I imagine people shouldn't have too much of an issue being able to throw out their things. Our magical assistant here. Yes, you. Yes. We'll be organizing the questions, taking them in, pointing them out. Oh yeah, thank you very much, guys. We will have a microphone up here. I will also say, if you're coming up for one, I will ask our wonderful volunteers down here, once I get their attention. Volunteers, please. Congratulations, Sharp. You've been promoted to volunteer.
Boy.
Yeah, get down there.
I am? Okay.
Yeah, grab the sweets on your way. So, I'd say I'm here for not so sunny Scotland, and I've brought some wonderful little Scottish treats from my local area with me. Anyone who comes up gets to have one of them when they go for that there. We've got some bonbons, which people should know the name of, and we have some Iron Brew pastilles made from girders. Yeah, sure, on you go. So if you've got a question, let's get the queue up for it, and we'll take it one time order. Feel free to ask a few. We have got a decent amount of time here, so let's get started with it.
Set in a pre-existing world, a lot of the...
Well, ask a question.
...is effectively made from scratch. How would you go about making a new world story? Hello. So,
Hey,
while Murky is set in Philadelphia, which is already a pre-existing aspect of Fallout Equestria, obviously most of the story is essentially set in a new world. You filled in a lot of the blanks. So my question is, if you are going to be making a new world, how would you go about designing it and then showing it?
so with coming up with world building for it, the first thing I would say is find your core theme. What that area needs to serve, what mechanical purpose it has in the story. So in this case, it had to allow the sense of oppression. It had to allow the sense of captivity. But it also had to have just enough freedom that the story could exist outside of the absolute bonds of just being chained to a wall and told to, mine there. So that led to the mechanism of the maul from it, the harmony maul, which was something that had enough containment within it that they could not leave exactly whenever they wished. They had to make an escape attempt. But it had enough space within it that they could move from room to room and give interest of areas. So having that center hub that fulfills the core mechanic of your story is going to be really beneficial. Outside of that, consider what your major scenes are going to be, and then think what sort of environment would be rather good to have that in. For example, going on the mission in Chapter 10 to get the sanitizer, or sanitizer, as Murky likes to call it, because he's a silly little boy. I could have had him just go to a generic warehouse, or I could have had him go to a Ministry of Arcane Science turned slave hall to have to go through obsidian corridors and find ancient technological artifacts in there. It gives interest to it. I could have had him had to just break into a storage area to get the rad purge for Glimmer, or I could have had them go into the crater of Philadelphia. Finding what seems like a more investing environment for each scene will very quickly fill out what things you need in that world. And once you have those major points, you can more easily connect the dots to how they all interact with each other from there. So get your short list of major areas that matter to the story, and I think the blanks will fill in themselves very rapidly after that point.
Cool, thank you very much.
No worries.
Timeline of events also helps.
Yeah.
In retrospective, in terms of process or story, is there anything you would have done different?
Yeah, tons. I wouldn't have made it 1.1 million words. I mean, for goodness sake, it's longer than the Bible, and it's got a smaller fan base. So, in specific terms, as a chapters 14 to 16, I would have condensed into a single chapter. I think I could have done that now. My current writings can do a lot more with a lot less space. Brevity is the soul of wit is a good saying from very intelligent people for a good reason. Try to think about how you can condense these together if possible. Other than that kind of cheapo answer that I already said before, I would probably have found more time to give Unity more screen presence throughout earlier parts of it. She does come in and she gets a lot of good moments, but I would have liked to have given her more time to show her personal flaws and show more of her interactions with the rest of the cast at an earlier point. If I was redoing the story, I'd probably have had her stick around after chapter 13, I think, when she first comes back. I would probably have had her stay around there. I know at least one person in the audience would have been like, no, I don't want to see any more of her. But I would have definitely had her around to grow that relationship, a lot more slow burn over it all. That would have been the big change for me, I think. And maybe I would have avoided getting the anger of the Polish by having Wicked Slit in the epilogue. Who knows?
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Hi, first, thank you. I loved the story. I'm curious, you showed us some of your notebooks. If you could list some stuff that you would keep track of, like inventory, calendar, what was...
Yeah, sure.
In your head, what did you write down?
So, inventory is a very important one to me. In a lot of Fallout Equestria stories, it's important, but not colossal. They have enough space to work with it. Within the context of a story about people who have very limited resources trying to escape a large city, every individual thing they had mattered. A lot of what comes for granted in other Fallout stories could not here. A good example is just simply healing potions. In every other story, a lot of the time, they will get shot, stabbed, whatever, and they'll chuck a healing potion and it's done. Within Murky, I wanted every individual injury to matter, and that both helped to keep it under control for me, to not lose, make people desensitized to character injury and hardship, by making everything like that matter individually. So I had to keep track of how many things, like healing potions and bandages and anything that could be used medically especially was the prime thing I wanted to keep an eye on, because it was so core to the tone of the story being limited. As I had the map of Philadelphia, and I populated that as I went so that I understood the vague directions, which area was north, so people could craft their own mental image of what they're looking for. There was the what I would often do is whenever I wrote an individual chapter in summary form in my notepad, I would often write down major themes at the side of it to keep track of which ones were present in this chapter, so that over the long term I could see if there's maybe a theme or a subplot that has not had attention paid to it in a good while. So I knew, okay, I maybe need to work this in somewhere with it by listing them as just little tags almost in each chapter page. That helped me keep an eye on where they were going, having those pacing curves showing, okay, they appear here, twice here, they don't appear here, 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 then it comes back. That was really helpful to me to make sure I had it all firmly tracked in mind there. What about you, Gold, for keeping track of things in notes?
Keeping track of things in notes, they're all here. Yeah, I don't really do notes. There isn't much, but you know, a bunch of loose ideas that suddenly coalesce into something and somehow works. Like I said, you don't. I don't plan too much. Just cut it up, make it grow on its own, help it a little bit, nurture the thing.
This is actually a rather crucial point, is the fact that Goat thinks about stories very differently from me is exactly why Goat is a good editor for me, because we look at things from a very different perspective. He can look at the notes that I have for something and be able to point out this. So if you're doing good notes for it, I'd recommend having someone who you trust that you can show it, and then they will be able to point out things ahead of time that you might not have seen yourself with it to know to include in there. Thanks. No worries. Thank you very much.
Hello. I've written before, and I always run into this problem, and I doubt I'm the only one who does it.
You could say you're engineering your limit.
Yeah, I am. I have a story, I have characters, I have a plot, I have events, I have themes, I have how characters have their own individual perspective on these plots and themes and everything going on. Then comes the part where I have to write coherent prose, and it's like running into a brick wall. How do you go about writing good prose that paints a detailed image to the reader whilst also presenting the character's perspective on that scene, event, whatever's going on?
The first thing that comes to my mind when I'm writing, particularly if you're writing first person, but even if you're writing third person, you can make good use of this, is think about the 5 senses for the character. So what they're hearing, what they're smelling, what they're touching, what they're feeling, what they're seeing. You can work through those 5 things to describe something that gives a very relatable aspect. It forces you, if something smells of mold, or if it smells of antiseptic in a hospital or something, that gives someone an immediate click to memory. There's that smell a hospital has. If you identify that through each of the different senses, that paints the picture for people. It helps activate their own memories for it. It can be very helpful to almost just work through the 5 of them with it, what they see, what they feel, what they touch, what they smell, all that sort of thing. I would also say when you're doing it, start with the most the most interesting thing that they're looking at, unless you're wanting to build up to that. So the most interesting thing in a given scene should either be the first or the last. Either you're saying he walked in and he saw the giant glowing pillar that cast blue haze across the rest of the room and silhouetted every other person waiting within there. Or it could be that they walk into the room and there's the wreathing blue mists of strange cultists bowing over, and then at their center, the great pillar of chaotic energy or something. So you want to begin or end with the most important thing in the room, and that will either let you hit it straight out, then describe its effect, or have the build up to it and then the reveal. And that gives a sense of pacing to that scene and describing that that environment with it. And I think once you get an environment down, that will help the rest of the prose all around it pretty nicely.
Thank you.
You had something for that. Okay, no worries. Hello.
Hello. So first, I loved your story.
Thank you very much. Thanks for trying it.
I wanted to ask if there's anything or any character you wanted to develop more but didn't have the time or didn't really fit into the story?
Definitely Unity. What's up? Yeah, Unity. Yeah, she came. Was in at the start, had a wee moment later, and then only in chapter, I believe it was 25, she finally came back permanently and joined the cast, which was only about 5 chapters from the end. Technically 6 if you count the 2-parter one. And I would have liked to have had her in a lot earlier. I feel there was more I could have shown about her and shown about her oddities, how she would tend to ramble at people rather than actually talk to them. That she would often sort of disassociate herself from a circle of friends just to sort of take the quiet time for herself. Quite similar to Misty, actually, in the latest stuff, when you really think about it. And I feel that would have made some of the later reveals, where she's saying that she's starting to be more social, that she's starting to converse more back and forth, that she's had that development. It would have highlighted that a lot more, I think. I would have also liked a lot more time with, well, I mean, he got a lot of screen presence, but I could never have written too many protege things. I would have just... There's no such thing as too many protege scenes to write. I absolutely enjoyed having him there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, I was wondering if you could expand on your point with screw you, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. So is it better to have the characters want to meet again later, or should they be brought together by circumstance again? Yeah.
So the prime example that brought me to it, where I originally saw it, was actually it was a meme actually focusing on the book The Infinite and the Divine. If anyone has read it in here, it's wonderful. If not, go read it. It's great. But its entire story is essentially two people who absolutely despise one another, and in hating each other, they cause problems for a lot of other people, and their punishment is to have to collectively work together to solve the issue. So an entire book of two people who've been told, no, put on your get-together shirt and go and solve this problem, and just antagonizing each other all the way through it is what created the humor of the book. So that's what led me to think about that as an advice. In this case, Glimmerlight and Coral were connected both via, they both wanted to help Murky, but that inherently brought them into contact with one another. So you can do it from them both wanting to be together and just not enjoying each other's presences. Maybe there's just a professional outcome. Maybe it's just circumstance that's brought them together. But in either case, what I would always recommend is whatever illogical thing they have, that illogical emotion that's building that, and you can get some snide back and forward, some banter. But always remember that if there's some more common good, if they've come together enough that reason is there, they'll probably still put that first. Yeah.
Yes, as a very good example, they don't have to like each other to work together. Think of Barbossa and Jack Sparrow in the second and third movie, like that.
That's one of your favorite tropes, isn't that? Two people who don't like each other having to work.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's some just consider their priorities. I would say consider their priorities and exactly what each of them would really want for that. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi there.
Did I hear you correctly that you guys run pen and paper campaigns in
Yep, we're all GMs.
Yes, so can you please talk about that for a bit, and like any pro tips, and in particular...
How much time do you have?
Yeah, that's a huge question.
I have all the time.
Yeah.
And in particular, to focus it a bit more, what premises have you tried, and which ones have worked the best?
So what was it? What premise?
Premises, like,
okay.
How the campaign starts.
Okay, sure.
Maybe I'll start chronologically. Yeah, my first campaign was called Wasteland Crusaders. It was an FOE campaign in Toronto. Basically, a group of foals that were looking for the cutie marks. It was like 2013, something like that. That had their cutie marks, were trying to save a city from a Wendigo. That was the first campaign. Then your campaign. Yeah.
So my campaign, actually set in essentially the same environment, was called the Sapphire Coast, which is following the crew of an airship in the last remaining prime slice of Equestria that was not damaged by the balefire, having to indeed protect it from a monstrous expulsion of living balefire from beneath the earth in a very Lovecraftian scale. Much more of an action-oriented thing than I did with Murky. And that was I was inspired to do it by playing in one of this gentleman's campaigns. And I feel going into it, if you want to start one with it, the most important thing is just to understand what your hook is to these players and give them that hook right away. Start with a bang. You got to get players invested. If they're coming back each week, you're doing the good thing.
Yeah, the start. Oh, you met in a tavern. It doesn't work. You need to start with a bang.
I know.
It's the same in any story, to be honest.
Right,
Give them their hook right away.
Yeah, if they start in a tavern, you have to burn it down immediately, basically.
He's right.
My own experience, is this mic working? Okay, yes.
It is.
Okay, my kind of biggest hit of a game was much shorter than either of theirs. It was, I don't know if anyone here knows about Equestria at War, but
yes.
Yeah, a few people do. It's the Hearts of Iron 4, World War II Equestria kind of thing. I did something that was like that mixed with Wolfenstein, those video games, and it was about a group of like prisoners basically having to survive a televised death game. So a little bit of Running Man and that mixed in. And it was short. It was only 16 sessions, which by our standards is really, really short. But, you know, I went in with a bang. I had the entire game take place on a timer, essentially. And that sort of kept the pace going, and it had the players invested from the start, and the stakes were really high because anyone could die. So that sort of thing, you know, you don't have to do a 4-year epic story if you don't want to. You can do something that takes just a few months, and yeah, again, it's just a matter of getting the players invested right off the bat and working with them ahead of the first session and everything to get characters, like, to figure out relationships and figure out what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he's right about having don't feel you have to do a giant multi-year thing. Like, small things can have great impact, just a single idea. Also, you completely you missed the biggest appeal of your thing, that was all based on the music of Carpenter Brut.
Yes, I had the entire game to a soundtrack. That is a great secret. Soundtracks are always, like, everyone uses music to inspire them, but with tabletop games, you can just use music, and if you're not televising it or doing it as a live play, it's okay. Just do it.
He's encouraging theft.
It's not theft. You're just playing songs with your friends.
All right. Thanks very much.
Ask us more after the panel, because we can rave about it for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't have the time.
We wanted to run a whole tabletop panel, so if anyone's got any tabletop thoughts, we are here. We're willing to chatter. Hi there.
Hi. First off, thank you for inspiring and giving us insights on writing a bigger story.
Thank you very much.
I could really use this in the next time. So my question is, are you excited for the Fallout London mod?
I'm excited for it as soon as I can get it to run.
Yeah, I heard it was
Thanks,
really bad.
Todd.
Yeah. Oh, yes, the good old, I mean, I work in the gaming industry, you know, for the last 10 years. And yeah, it's the good old, hey, why don't we just throw out this patch in a highly moddable game? I'm sure nothing will go wrong. I'm extremely excited to play it because the one thing I always wanted, the biggest mod I could always have asked for Fallout 4 was a mod that installed a good story. So yeah, I'm really excited to try it and play it and see what's going on there and see just how British they can make it.
Yeah, hopefully that will James Bond reference or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
No worries, thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi there.
You said to kill your babies. What was the hardest baby to kill?
I apologize. Oh God! If anyone's not heard spoilers, cover your ears right now. I'll put up my hand when the spoilers are done. Protege.
He was done dirty. I'm telling you.
Yeah, technically that was kind of an off throw to your question, but yeah, that okay. Spoilers done. Spoilers done. There you go. Yeah, that was the hardest thing to do. That was having to understand, yes, it narratively worked. You know, that was the most important thing to have to end up doing. But in terms of prior to it going out, the hardest one was the ending. Because I'd come so far, and when you can see that ending in sight, I was so ready to just say, that's it, it's finally done, I'm free, for goodness sake. Like, I'm free of it to think of another idea and do the same thing to myself for the next 10 years. But having to really step back and ask myself, not just, is this something I find interesting? Because I did find it interesting. I thought it was a really thematically, fun thing to write. But it would not have been satisfying for all the readers that had been built up over years and years and years. So having to look at what was then a completed story and then wipe out the last 15,000 words of it and completely redo that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in a story. It still exists in my hard drive somewhere. I'm not ever going to release it, but it's out there somewhere. And understanding it was for the better of it was that took all the maturity I had developed as a person and as a writer throughout. Because I wouldn't be what I would call a great writer at the start, but I feel I learned so much over it, and I had to apply all those lessons just to redo that, redraft it, understand that the reader base had to come first and that people had to be given a good, solid ending. And I feel disappointed when I see bad endings and things, and I had to remember that's all them out there, that's me at that point. So, yeah, definitely that part there. Have you ever had to kill off anything you really wanted?
Oh, gosh.
Other than characters in your tabletop games?
Yeah, arcs in my tabletop games. Yeah, there was supposed to be a really big arc based on a prison, that's so to say, and then I realized, like, I had everything for it done, like maps, characters, plots, and this doesn't really bring anything other than put the players in the prison for like 2 months and have them and give them a really cool escape chase. That was a really cool escape chase, but yeah, if it doesn't bring anything important to the story, just cut it, slice it to pieces.
You can always put it into a future thing. Whatever you cut out, keep a hold of it. You can always rework it, change the names, use it at a later point, because it generally has a good core to it. In that case, yeah, going a bit more metaphysical with Murky maybe works better in a future story for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi. You mentioned the vault where everyone is equal. Have you encountered any other situation where you found someone used the idea you wanted to use, or where someone made the idea you used even better?
Other than the fact that Disney stole my tagline for my story, I was going to Brayhead Shopping Centre and saw their, Frozen on Ice. had the Dare to Dream thing up there. And I was like, really, Disney, you don't have enough already. You have to come for the fan artists as well. So, funnily enough, one of the interesting things you see with seeing all the fan content of it that brings out is you often see some stuff come up and you're like, wow, that scene they've drawn would have actually worked really well. There was a phenomenal piece of artwork done by a friend of ours, Kelmon, who did a piece from the, what was it? I think it was, Winter Radup, that chapter, where they'd come off the train into radiation-infused snow, and they're having to struggle their way through it. Of course, Murky is very weak to radiation. He is having a lot of trouble with it, and he's trying to hide from a psychotic raider called Wildcard hunting him around. And he did this phenomenal art piece. It was on earlier there, of him hiding behind a piece of wreckage while this guy is swinging his blades around hunting for him. And that is kind of in the story, but it made me realize I wish I had written far more depth about having the flames roaring up around this guy as he's storming through and not caring about it all as he's coming through the same snow. And I realized he'd added the tracks. I was like, oh, why didn't I have him following Murky's tracks? That would have been so tense to have to get away when you can't cover your own tracks at all. And the fact that he wishes he could have flown, could he maybe have clambered a tree and glided on his wings or something? And it just made me think of so much more I could have done with that scene from this incredible piece of artwork. So usually I would say from that sort of thing. Even the cover art on the right-hand side there, that was made by Omega Ridley, an amazing artist. And he drew that. He drew that there as a commission before I really started doing Act 3, and it made me think about things I wanted to do in Act 3 because it was so evocative what he'd created for it. So the finale has that exact scene in it at one point, purely because I saw the cover art. I was like, man, I got to put that in. So yeah, definitely look to artists. Artists, they know what's up with getting a craft in a visual medium. Like, absolutely respect to them.
Yeah, I got a funny story about that too. I was running a sci-fi campaign, tabletop campaign, in my very own setting, and one of the main non-player characters was a how to say it quickly, basically a very powerful unicorn in a world that there is basically no magic, and she had very otherworldly esoteric powers, and she was a escapes science experiment. And her name was Specimen 11.
Oh, God.
And then I was like, you know, why are people laughing at this? And like, have you ever seen Stranger Things? No.
Yeah, that can happen a lot. I think I was the one who told you that, and just the for it. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
I think we have, was that one or two more? Just what? Just yourself. Okay, thank you.
Well, my question is more for the editor. I also write, and I have an editor. Okay, I have two editors because of my typos. But I think always editors have such a boring job. They read the story and search the mistakes, but they don't get anything in the end. Maybe some name as a thank you, but they don't get the fame or the glory as the writer. And my question is this a border as an editor?
Is this boring?
Bothering you?
Bothering me? Not really. I'm not really a fame person, you know, so I don't really mind that. There are some thanks, and Fuzzy did some really nice highlights for my stuff in his other projects. That's nice. I have a dedication in the physical copy of the book, which is also nice. I'm here, which is very nice. This is the first panel I ever did. Doesn't really bother me, to be fair. No, but I think that depends on the person. If someone's in it for, you know, to be horse famous, hey, I did editing on this huge story that's widely recognized, and that might be an issue. But a thanks is good, you know. Show the, as a writer, show the appreciation to the editors. Tell them that this would not have been possible without them, basically. But as for fame, that really depends on the person. I cannot really answer that.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
I can confirm, like,
enough.
Murky would not have been possible without him and my other editor. It absolutely would not have. You get to shout to authors and watch them cry.
Especially when they're your friends. Very fun.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have like less, you know, like just over a minute left. The last thing I'll just say is, you know, what we're doing now. Like I said, there's stories of all kinds. We didn't stop writing. I didn't stop writing. I've been doing other stuff there. I've been doing other Fallout Equestria stuff on my fanfic there. Shorter, self-contained stories touching on different parts of the wasteland, different individual interesting characters, be it a zebra hunter trying to find his way in a new world for them, be it a young Pegasus trying to escape her, you know, her mother in her very confined area in her own world, be it a ghoul who's survived 200 years under the just wish to try and heal and help others, having gone through one war already and now seeing the results. Untold Individuals is purely intended to be short stories, all focusing on individual characters who might not have gotten a full story, but allows them their chance to shine and show what kind of odd things are out there. And the second one, Home in the Black, is my current big project. But I can't say it's really my own project because I co-write it with Goat here. It is based on that sci-fi tabletop game that he mentioned. I was writing side stories for it while we were playing in it, and it just sort of became a fanfic series.
Yeah, I just created a setting for a sci-fi thing, and Fuzzy started to write stories for it.
Yeah. So that's almost done. It's got its big finale coming up within hopefully the next few months, maybe up to 6 months. I want to get it right. As with any finales, I want to get it right. So that one is coming together. A little curious, has anyone here actually read any of the other content I put out other than that? Yeah. Nice. Including Home in the Black? Oh, there. Okay. I can see at least a couple there. So there's your first people who come to you who've read something you've read. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. So the last thing I'll just say, we're basically at the hour. What are you two working at yourselves?
Tabletop games mostly. The audiobook still does exist. I don't think there's a complete Murky Number 7 audiobook, and I'm not sure there ever will be. But you know what? Me and others are going to keep plugging away at our own. And otherwise, tabletop games, there's nothing wrong with having just a private story between you and your friends. Not everything has to be published or shown to other people. And, you know, as long as you're getting it out there with your friends, that's great.
Make sure you're writing for yourself.
Please.
Tabletop games. I just started another huge campaign based in Zebrica. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I would have loved to written more for Home in the Black, but the new campaign, it's a lot of work. It eats it up. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going forward to do, and I highly encourage anyone. The big thing I always want to carry forward is I want people to leave any panels I do feeling like not just that they've came to hear me talk about my own stuff. I do like to. It's nice to meet people who've read it, but ultimately I always want to come here and say, look, here's some stuff that can maybe help you. There needs to be more stories in the world. Everyone has a story in them, and I always want everyone to leave a panel feeling like they can do something of their own in whatever medium it is that you can personally do. It doesn't always have to be writing books. That's the big thing I always carry through all my panels, and I hope today that people have been able to leave and feel a bit energized to get home, maybe get some words down, maybe get some creations, and see what else we can put into this fandom, because I truly believe this is the most creative fandom I've ever seen in my life and may indeed exist out there. And there's always the next generation of people creating. I feel at every con sitting there waiting to see what it is they can do next. So from all of us up here, thank you for coming, for giving your time out of your day with your convention and coming to see us, hear us talk, and to ask questions to see what can actually help everyone. We're very appreciative of it, to all the art that came through it. And for those who've read the story, I'll just say, you know those two images. If you know, you know. And thank you very much for being a part of this, for taking your time to read Murky Number 7. It still blows my mind that I get to be here and speaking to people from across the world who've read something I wrote. I could not have imagined that when I was writing the first notes for it in a hotel room minutes away from meeting Bethesda to market their own games. Which is why I accidentally said Pip-Buck to a developer. Thank you very much, everyone. And of course, as I said, we will be hanging around. Obviously, there's another thing coming in after us here, but there's plenty of room out there. We will be around. If anyone has any more questions you just didn't feel comfortable asking, you want more info on, please come and speak to us. We have, there's no restriction in our time here. Feel free to come up, and I will more than happy go over anything, spoilers, content, whatever, anything.
Just walk up and ask.
Yeah. Hope to see any out there. Have a good rest of the GalaCon 2024.
Dankeschön.
Also, is the music okay? Is the music too loud? Is it too? It's good? Okay,
Do we still need a
perfect.
coat color?
What was that?
We still need a coat color.
A coat color? Did we not do that? Oh, give me a coat color. Green. Oh, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Let's get started. Anonymous mare. Hey, are you okay? You open your eyes to see a cute mare standing over you. She looks concerned, almost frightened, as she eyes you up and down. I think so? You glance aside and notice you are laying in a large ditch speckled with embers and magical residue. What happened? That explosion could have probably been heard from miles away. Explosion? You try to remember what occurred before you woke up, but everything is blank. I'm not sure. Well, where did you come from? I can't seem to remember that either, or much of anything for that matter. You must have really scrambled your noodle. Do you at least know your own name? You close your eyes and think for a moment. Your name? Sadly, nothing comes to mind. The mare looks increasingly concerned as she notices your strain to answer such a simple question. Don't hurt yourself. We really need to find you some help. Here, take this for now. The mare gives you a plump red apple. Go ahead, take a bite. You'll feel much better. You don't need to be told twice as you suddenly notice your empty stomach. You take a large chomp of the apple and feel rejuvenated. Wow, thank you so much. The mare seems pleased with herself. I forage sometimes in these parts. There's a lot of good treats lying around if you know where to look. My name is Liquid Belly, by the way. So all these names are randomly generated. All the mares are randomly generated. It's really nice to meet you despite our odd circumstance of you exploding into existence. Well, if I had to phase into existence somewhere, I'm happy it was here with you and your apples. I wish I could give you my name. Liquid Belly seems to consider something for a moment. How about I call you Quinoa? You're okay with that, right? Quinoa? You're taken back a bit. How'd she even come up with that? Okay, are we going to re-roll for another name, or are we going to keep Quinoa?
Nah, quinoa is cute.
Quinoa's cute. Okay. Well, sure, I suppose. Might as well be called something for the time being. Yay, new friend, but we still should really get you a licensed medical professional to inspect that bump on your cute mare head. That's probably a good idea. Better safe than not safe? Oh, no, looks like you forgot idioms as well. Liquid Belly, I saw a crazy huge kaboomer from like a mile away. Is everything all right? The mare seems to just take notice of you. Whoa, who are you? I really like your mane. Thanks, I really like your...
Eyes.
Eyes. My eyes? Yeah, they're neat, I suppose. Funny vapors. This is Quinoa. Got some funny vapors. It's definitely a convention. Or at least that's what we'll call her for now. She has something to do with that explosion. It seems she lost her memory as a result. Wow, I'm surprised you're alive. Usually you lose a lot more than your memory by being exploded. I guess I'm not sure, though. I've never been exploded before. I'd say exploding is a first for me, too. But I'm honestly not sure. Right now, everything is feeling like a first. Well, that's no good. We need to get your memories back. Life without memories is just I can't remember the word I'm looking for. Uh-oh. Hopefully this amnesia isn't contagious. Nah, don't worry about that. She's just a goofball. It's true. Okay, so back to the topic at Hoof. We should really find a nurse or something to get you checked out. Sounds good. Where's the nearest clinic? You watch as Liquid Belly and Funny Vapors glance at each other briefly. Well, I suppose you're standing on top of it. Huh? Yeah, it seems you totally exploded on top of the only mare clinic in the area. Oh my goodness, how come neither of you mentioned that sooner? This is awful. Oh, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. Not a big deal? What about all those poor mares in the clinic? Oh, it's okay, Quinoa. The practice was rarely open. I don't think we've had a sick or hurt mare in this area for a long time. Yeah, who wants to go to practice anyway? If I was sick, I'd want to go to the championship. But what about the building itself? Won't the doctors and nurses be angry that it was destroyed? Oh, there weren't any doctors or nurses. Why the heck was there a clinic here then? Wow, new mare is asking some really deep questions. I never thought about that before. Okay, let's back up. Liquid Belly, you had recommended that I see a medical professional. If the clinic here was useless even before I destroyed it, then where were you talking about? Oh, I guess I hadn't thought that far ahead, but we should still see someone. Okay, well, who should we see then? Ooh, I know. We should visit this one adventure mare that traveled to the end of the world. Greasy scent? How could she help? Well, she's been practically everywhere. She might know where quinoa should go to get her memories back. Well, she does sound preferable to a doctor, but maybe she knows where we can find one if neither of you do. Well, I think we might have a better time talking to Sweetie Shores. Who's that? Well, she's kind of a weirdo who's a witch in training or something silly like that, but she does brew up useful potions, and she once gave me a potion to cure me from interrupting other mares speaking. It doesn't seem like it works. Of course it only works on the first Thursday of every month from 5 o'clock to 7 p.m. MST. That's a pretty specific time frame. Yeah, that's when she hosts her cooking class. Well, she sounds like a pretty holistic approach, but it seems like she had some kind of results at least. Both are definitely options. Which one do you like more, quinoa?
Greasy Scent, the adventurer.
We're going to Greasy Scent.
Such an
Adventure it is, yay! Why am I inside of a portrait? Oh, don't worry about that. This is just the traveling view. The what now? Relax, it's just a normal part of life. See those little red and white bars below us? Yeah, I see them, but what are they? The red bar is your health, and the white bar is your mare energy. Well, that's convenient, I guess, but what does the mare energy do? Well, it's different per mare. A Pegasus full of mare energy can fly up high and spot places to go. What about unicorns? It increases their magical abilities so they can do cool protection spells and stuff. What would we need protection from? Nothing, you goober. We're cute mares. What would possibly want to hurt us? Nothing I can think of. Just figured I'd ask since Liquid Belly mentioned it. Well, before we ask about Earth mares, I'll just let you know that more mare energy helps them forage for green apples, red apples, and sugar cubes. Oh, I remember your red apples. Those definitely heal us. How about green apples and sugar cubes? Green apples give us stamina and travel to new places. Sugar cubes raise our mare energy. Pretty useful. Thanks for teaching me. Hey, why do you have an extra bar below your portraits than me? Literally no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't see anything either. Let's just blame it as a symptom of your exploding. Huh, okay. I'll ignore it for now, I guess. Ooh, tell her about the menu. There's a restaurant nearby? Not that kind of menu, silly. See those options on the right? Oh yeah, I see them. From there you can select cool things to do. Oh, that's neat. What can I select? You can choose to travel new locations, forage for food, interact with interesting things nearby, or wait around and forage some more. Sounds great, thanks. Yay, it's questing time. Yippee! All right, so now we can do stuff like forage, which we're probably gonna have to do a lot. I should have gave myself a cheat so I can move faster through this, but I didn't. So give me a second.
Mirrors.
So if I give the Earth Mare some sugar cubes, it'll raise our chance for more drops with this. And everybody wants green apples. They're important. Okay, so what are we doing? Are we traveling onward or are we going to the Math Mare?
Math. I want
Math
some
Mare.
math.
All right, stick around then. You're gonna have to help with the Math Mare.
Oh no.
Yes. Let's see.
The consequence of action.
You find a cute mare staring with deep concentration at a pile of sugar cubes. Hi there, what are you doing? I'm trying to figure out a hard problem. If I have 18 sugar cubes and I get 28 more sugar cubes, how many will I have? All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1.
46.
You must be a genius. You're absolutely right. I can't thank you enough. This changes everything. Plus 100 friendship experience. Anytime. Oh, we got a perk. All right. Do you know about MareQuest? Do you know which perk?
I played through the whole thing. I know.
All right. Which perk are we going for then?
Ooh, which perk are we going for?
Yeah.
I can't remember the names. Can you run me through them again?
Increases mare energy, luck, which is
Well, let's do the green apple one, because.
Yeah. Let's do that one. That will, lower green apple cost. Yippee! Let's do a little forage. Look how happy she is. She's so happy when she catches things. Okay, let's see. How much sugar cubes? All right. Are we traveling onward, Mathmare or Clef of Clover?
I try for the Clef of Clover.
Clef of Clover. All right, stick around for the decision. You find a Clef of Clover. You decide to eat them. Search for a 4-leaf clover. Stomp on them angrily.
Search for a 4-leaf clover.
All right. You found a 4-leaf clover, plus 3 luck. Yippee! No green apples. This is terrible. Okay. We're going to skip the Mare Clinic. That's too much, and we're not really... Well, I'm a little hurt, but I'll just heal myself. There we go. Yippee. All right. Travel onward or construction mare?
Let's travel onward.
Travel onward. All right, stick around. We'll do another. Let's forage. Oh, I did.
Oh.
I was trying to check my phone. We're speedrunning this.
Quest.
All right, travel onward, socks mare or merchant mare?
Socks mare.
Socks mare. We love socks. All right. Sadly, there doesn't seem to be many resources here. -1 forage. All right, socks mare. You find an angry mare looking down at her socks. Hello, is everything okay? Okay? No, it's not okay. Just look at these socks. Huh? They seem pretty cute to me. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? They're on my hooves. This is terrible. Why is that terrible? I love my cute mare socks. What's terrible? I want to be free. I want to feel the ground beneath my hooves, not some silly socks. Well, couldn't you just take them off? And leave them on the ground by themselves, alone and afraid? How could you even think of such a thing? You could. Let's see, we're going to give them to Funny Vapors, our friend, or give them a proper burial.
Give them a proper burial.
Proper burial. Proper burial for my socks? No, I can't do it. I won't do it. I've had a change of heart. I'll cherish these forever from here on out. You shrug and trot onward. At least the mare appreciates her socks now. All right. Let's go. All right. I guess I already did that. I'm going to travel a little bit. Okay. No. Okay, next decision. Are we traveling onward, random mare, or cave?
Cave.
Cave. All right, stick up here for this. All right, you find a scary cave and decide to explore. As you travel onward, you find a path that splits ahead. You hear nothing to the left and nothing to the right. Wow, that's super interesting. All right, you decide to go left, go right, or leave.
And go left.
We're going left. You walk down the left cave tunnel. You find a chest at the end of the cavern. You excitedly open the chest. That's weird. There's a arugula inside. You decide to give it to Liquid Belly, give it to Funny Vapors, or consume it for yourself.
Consume it.
Yum. You quickly gobble it up. Your health and mare energy are maxed. Very nice. All right. After searching around and not finding much else, you leave the cave. All right. Oh, this is a cute song, by the way. I like this song. Let me give them a topper on their mare energy. And all right, next decision. We got travel onward, Clef of Clover, Hungry Mare, or Midnight Wishes.
Let's do Midnight Wishes.
Midnight Wishes. You find an odd mare lazily walking about. Hey there. So, what are you up to? I'm finding a doctor to cure my habit. Oh, what habit is that? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, I thought you said that you were going to cure your habit. Yes. It's okay, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. How far away is the doctor? They're always with me. Okay. So, is there anything else you might need help with? No, not really. Well, actually, yes, there is one thing. Oh, what's that? Would you be my friend?
Yes.
Yes. Sure, I love making friends. That's nice. I'm going to go now. Okay, good luck with your habit and have fun with that doctor. Friend, always. Your new friend walks away. You're left a little confused, but she seemed nice at least. Okay.
Mare.
Double kill. Okay. We got Travel Onward, Merchant Mare, Clef of Clover, Arclight.
Arclight?
Okay. Another special interaction. You find a cute blue mare doing cute blue mare things. Oh, hey, oh, look. She bids you to get closer and waves her hoof energetically at her horn when you do. I'm a bonehead. Oh, you don't have to put yourself down like that. Huh? I'm not putting myself down. I love being a bonehead. I mean, I guess I've always wondered what it's like to be a Pegasus and zoom zoom fly around, or Earthmare and do Earthmare things. But being a bonehead is great too, except when apples fall off the tree and get impaled on my horn. Hard to get off, though the juice does taste yummy. I guess that's a problem I've never had to deal with, thankfully. The mare unexpectedly prances up to you and gives you a quick peck on the lips. Mwah! What are we doing? What the hey was that for? Whee! Bad touch, bad touch? Or, oh, you're really friendly.
Friendly.
Friendly. Of course, I love making new friends. As a token of my eternal friendship, I have some other cool stuff. We have our red apples, green apples, and sugar cubes max to capacity. Wow, thanks a lot. This will really help on our quest. All right. Oh, I didn't need to do this, did I? We have them all maxed. Go away. All right. We're almost at our objective. We're coming close.
Let's
And
go.
let me see.
Hungry mare.
Hungry mare? Which hungry mare? There's two.
The first one.
The first one. It's the same thing. All right, hungry mare. You find a sad mare sitting alone. Boo hoo hoo. I'm so hungry. Do you have 3 red apples I can have? Here you go. Or, I'm sorry, but we need it for our mare quest.
Here you go.
Here you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Plus 50 friendship. Oh, we got a perk. And let me just, I'll do the perk this time. Let's, actually I might, yeah. All right, we don't have a choice here, so just stick up, and it's gonna be a little cutscene. Game saved. Yippee. Liquid Belly. Greasy Scent can usually be found around these parts when she's not adventuring. I think she lives in a cave or something nearby. A cave is kind of a weird place for a mare to live. Oh, that's not too weird. My mother used to live in a cardboard box. Before you can open your mouth to respond to that comment, a bone-chilling breeze rolls up from behind you. You and your 2 friends turn to face a dark cloud churning slowly out of the woods that you had just traversed. Greasy Scent, is that you? There's no answer aside from a low rumbling as 3 shadowy mare figures step forward from the dark mist. You can feel a mare heart beating in your chest as a paralyzing fear quickly floods through your veins. What do they want? You're scaring us. Leave us alone. We're just 3 cute mares doing cute mare things. The 3 horrifying creatures don't even remotely react or acknowledge the words as they continue to lumber forward in your way menacingly. Your weird horsey lips begin to quiver as you feel tears swell out with your eyes. But without warning, a green blur flies over your head and hits one of the dark creatures. To your astonishment, there's a scary creature disappears into a poof of smoke, and a green apple, apparently the object slung over your head, drops upon the grass where it was previously standing. Why are you 3 just sitting there like silly fillies? It's Greasy Scent. She's come to save us. In an incredibly acrobatic display, Greasy Scent jumps over your head, flips backwards through midair, and somersault kicks the second shadow mare in the chin. As her second victim also dissipates into a smoky cloud, Grassy Scent sticks her landing in a flash, spins around to roundhouse kick her 3rd target across the head. A loud rustling noise from behind you makes your ears perk up as you turn to see a new dark horse from the tree line, this one running full speed directly at you. Ah, another one. Not on my watch. Greasy Scent tosses up a red apple above her head and gives the funny vipers a reassuring wink. As the apple falls, she rears and kicks it with both hind legs. With blinding speed, the apple zips between you and Funny Vapors and meets its shadow horsey target dead center in the forehead, putting the last of her spooky enemies out of commission. How about them apples? Greasy Scent, you saved us. No time for thanks. More of these wretched creatures could be around. Quick, follow me back to my mare lair. You and your two friends follow Greasy Scent through the dark forest. You try to catch your breath because you're behind Greasy Scent as she practically glides through the underbrush. Before long, you come to the entrance of the cave, hidden out of view by a few gnarled trees on the side in a small hill. Oh, this must be the mare lair. We'll be safe here, but be careful where you step. There's booby traps hidden all around. Heh, heh, heh. You continue to follow the mare into the cave, carefully stepping precisely where she does to ensure that you don't set off any aforementioned traps. After a few moments, you reach her very simple abode. A few mats, table, bag of oats, storage chest, all rest upon a small, elevated wooden foundation above a dreary cavern floor. So, you actually live here? When I'm not going on wicked adventures across the wildlands, yes. Why, do you have something to say about it? What do you have to say about it?
It seems very comfy.
Seems comfy. We'll stay up there and we'll do another one, the next one for you too. It suits me too, thanks. So what were those absolutely horrible creatures that attacked us? They're called shadow horsies, but I've only ever heard them in the legends of old. I didn't think they were real. What legends? 17 years ago, when I was exploring the ancient ruins of Machu Picchu, when I came across a stone tablet. Whoa, what kind of stone? Shh, furry vapors? She's trying to tell a story. The tablet had an inscription in a long, forgotten language. It took me 10 years to translate it. What did it say? It read as thus: mares, I love them. Profound. I realized instantly it was a riddle of sorts, but it took me another 5 years to decipher the true meaning. And what was that? The letters rearranged to read, A.M. is over the elm. That is very cryptic. I think cryptic is the word you're looking for, Funny Vapors. Of course, I knew what the M over the elm meant. It was referring to a sacred mare tree of life in the far-off lands beyond the Seahorse Sea. And what did you do then? I didn't have a ship, so I swam across the ocean. It took 47 days. That's unbelievable. How did you survive? Through sheer willpower and determination. Anyways, I washed up on the shores of the Forgotten Isles and crawled for 4 days to the Mare Tree of Life. At the base of the great elm, there was a wise mare guru by the name of Hard Energy. Then what's wrong? Which story am I telling again? I think I got mixed up on adventures. You were telling us where those shadow horsies came from. Oopsie, wrong adventure, disregard all of that. It's not even remotely related. I just noticed these shadow horsies were popping up every night over the past few days. I never saw them until now. Have you, Funny Vapors? Nope, not once. If that's the case, then I feel a timing with me losing my memories is more than a coincidence. Your memories? That's why we're here. This poor mare Quinoa just popped out of nowhere with no memory of how. I know you've basically been everywhere and done everything, so I thought you might know something about how we can help her amnesia. Interesting. It's been many moons since I've heard of such a thing. Whoa, I've only ever seen one moon. So you might know how to get my memories back. Perhaps there are a few magical artifacts I'm aware of that can be used in such a way to help you. Did you hear that, Quinoa? That's great news. Well, it won't be easy. Each and every one of these artifacts will be a grueling task to retrieve. You must be ready to push yourself to the absolute limit, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and metaphorically. It's very likely that you'll fail and all will be lost. Oh, sorry, that talk usually excites and motivates me, but I'm sure you three will be able to do it if you stick together. Liquid Belly and Funny Vapors, I can't ask you to do this for me. You've already been so helpful. Don't be silly, Quinoa. We'll support you in any way we can. Yeah, plus we can't just let a cute mare without memories just wander around the countryside. How will you remember where you're even going, you poor thing? I mean, I remember everything since Liquid Belly found me. Huh? I'm not understanding how this whole no memory thing works, but okay. Well, if you're set on this quest, I have a few questions to ask. I can help determine which artifact is best suited for you to retrieve. Sure, that makes sense. Ask away. You're walking in the forest and come across a pile of suspiciously placed leaves. What do you do?
Ask if the leaves want to be my friend.
Well, there are worse things to ask to be your friend, I suppose. All right, let's get someone else now. Thank you. Let's see. Next question. You're walking in a spooky swamp and get ambushed by an army of 10,000 reanimated mare skeletons. How do you react? We got a bunch of...
for Funny Vapors and run into the army.
Beautiful. Oh. So Liquid Belly didn't like that, but Funny Vapors really like that. Okay, final question. How much do you weigh? Hey, that's not something you should be asking. You gots to answer, Quinoa. You just gots to. It's relevant. Once I was in an enchanted forest and needed to escape by hot air balloon, but I was over the weight limit. Another time I was in the water temple and didn't weigh enough for a pressure plate to activate. Fine. I weigh
more than I care to admit.
Aw, it's okay, Quinoa. Don't let that get you down. Maybe we can all join a Pony Fitness Club when you get your memories back. Oh, and they both like you for that. Well, I guess I have a good idea of what artifact you should aim on getting. What's it called and how do we get it? It's called the Tack of Destiny, and it can only be found in the southern Badlands. Whoa, that's far, but we'll go help Quinoa. Yeah, we can do it. Aw, thank you so much, you two. Greasy Scent gives you a brief lesson on how to find the cave the Tack of Destiny is apparently hidden in, and gives you tips on how to defend yourself in the remote regions of the world. Now you three should be ready to take on the world. And remember, when Quinoa wears the Tack of Destiny, she should be able to remember some things. Perhaps not everything, but it'll be a start. Thank you so much. Also, keep in mind, if you see any more of those shadow horsies, you need to stand your ground. Be extra careful at night. They're relentless. I get scared just thinking of them. Me too, but we'll be careful and we'll stick together. I'm also worried that nowhere is safe from those things. You be safe too, Greasy Scent. I rescued you, remember? I'll be fine. It's a long trip to the south, forest, the desert, and then a sea of lava stones as far as the eye can see. I bid you a good adventure and wish you success. We've got this. It'll be like a nomadic slumber party. Haha, time to set out. Yippee! We're going again. Yeah, we could use some more green apples. Oh, it's another. And another. Okay. Travel onward, Hungry Mare, Merchant Mare, Math Mare.
Let's go to the Merchant Mare.
Merchant Mare. You find a cute mare looking to trade. Well, howdy there, friend. Would you care to give me 5 red apples for 4 sugar cubes in return? It's a deal or no thank you.
No thank you.
No problem. Have a great day. Woohoo! Oh yeah, green apples. And our unicorn could use some sugar cubes. Okay. All right. Next, travel onward, fighting mares, mare clinic, or skivvy.
Let's go skivvy.
Skivvy. You find eggplant parmesan with a sign next to it that says free gift for cute mares. You decide to. Who are we giving this to?
I give it to Liquid Belly.
Liquid Belly. You let Liquid Belly gobble it up. Yeah, she likes it. All right, so now we're going to skivvy. You notice a mare peering at you suspiciously from behind a tree. Hello there. What are you looking at? Well, just you, I suppose. Is everything okay? Okay, don't act like I don't know what you are. I'm the same as you, a cute mare, right? Wrong, you're one of those heckin' clankers. I can see straight through your disguise. Clanker, I don't even know what that is. A likely story. I'm seriously have no idea. Wait, really? Okay, well in that case, you seem like the kind of mare I can trust with top secret classified information. If you say so. A long time ago in a Horsehead Nebula far, far away, there was like all these laser battles in outer space or something. Actually, that's besides the point. The real point is like 95% of mares are actually clickety clanking robots. Machines, if you will. They're everywhere. In the trees, in bath bubbles, even inside my own brain. Ah! Well, that's what my doctor said at least. That sounds pretty far-fetched. Do you have like some kind of medicine you should be taking or something? Medicine? What? No. Well, yes, but I lost it a few days ago. Probably stolen by a clanker. Here, try this.
Sugar cube?
What was that?
Sugar cube?
Oh, sugar cube. The mare quickly gobbles up the sugar cube and immediately starts vibrating uncontrollably. I can see everything clearly now. The wind, it's made up of clankers. Ah, this explains everything. The mare runs away screaming, and you're left a little uncertain if you made a new friend or not. But we did get friendship experience out of it, so that's all that matters, right? All right, let's... Oh. This touchpad is not the best. Okay. We got Travel Onward, Clump of Clover, Mare Clinic, which we don't really need because we have full health, or Wasabi.
Wasabi.
Wasabi. You find a cute mare carrying a tray of baked goods. Hiya, what are you making there? Hi, these are my special cookies. They look pretty good. What kind of cookies are they? They're my own special recipe. Please go ahead and try one. If you insist. You take a bite of one of the mare cookies and instantly in sheer agony, some kind of jolt similar to electric shock runs through your little mare snout to the top of your mane. What is in these? Pretty good, aren't they? They're wasabi chip cookies. Wasabi? Yeah, and that's my name too. What a strange coincidence. So what do you think? Pretty amazing, right? I'm open to constructive criticism too. Switch wasabi out for...
More wasabi.
More wasabi. That was the best cookie I ever had. The only other thing that would make it better would be more wasabi. You should totally do that and give some to every Philly you encounter. I'm so happy you liked it. I'll just do that. You part ways with wasabi, with the wasabi cookie mare. Snickering, Jesus, can't read. She ruined your day with those awful cookies, so it's only fair that the other mares get to experience your pain as well.
Yeah.
Brutal. Quinoa is going to the dark side. Let's see, how much time do we got? All right, not too bad. Okay, I'm gonna skip a couple of these because I want to get a little further. It's so hot here. The joys of the desert, not to mention all the sand itching me in awful places. What are we saying?
Maybe we can just pretend we're at the beach.
Hey, I'd build a sandcastle if it meant getting an ounce of shade, tee-hee-hee. So what can we expect from the desert? Trouble finding food? I'm sure we won't come across many mares out here either. It would be nice if there were less shadow horses too. We can only hope so. So are you excited about finding the Attack of Destiny? Well, I'm not sure what to expect. It feels like I'll be reading a book I know nothing about going in. I hadn't thought about it like that, Quinoa. Are you afraid of what you'll find? What are we saying? Stimpy. What are we saying, Staffy?
Give me a moment, okay? What are you accusing me of?
Oh, there we go. What? It's not like that. I swear, I didn't mean it like that. You curse under your breath. You know exactly what Funny Vapors was getting at. You realize she probably just acts like an airhead so she can use it as an excuse to play dumb. Two can play the blame game. Ooh, we're getting... Let's see. Let me... Mayor Rave in the back there. Let's do a couple ahead. Oh, she stepped on a cactus. As you whinny and jump in the air, there's a red apple rolls out of your saddlebag and onto the sand. You lose 2 HP. Let's try to get some more green apples. Ah! I missed that one. Okay, yeah, let's do one of these. Travel Onward, Hungry Mare, Poetry Mare, or another Hungry Mare.
Poetry Mare.
Poetry Mare. You walk up to the mare who seems to be talking to herself. That doesn't work either. Darn. Hi there, it sounds like you're struggling with something. I am. I'm trying to make a poem, but I can't think of a good ending. Maybe I can help. What do you have so far? You do love Artini Pale. it never makes her need to... I can't think of the last word. Try using cry, sail, talk, or quote as the last word. What rhymes with pale?
Sail.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. You do love our teeny pale. It never makes her need to sail. It's so perfect. Thank you. Happy to help. She's trying to dance. Okay. Let's go a little further. Uh-oh. We're attacked by shadow horses. So this is a little mini game here. It's pretty simple. You can run away if you want, if you're too afraid of them, or we can try to fight them. So let's see if I remember how to do this. Okay, we did it. You defeat the shadow horses, plus 50 experience. All right. Let me try to... How's our danger? Yeah, okay, we should be fine. Okay, we got travel onward, safe zone, crying filly, or Lumina.
Let's do Lumina.
Lumina. Oh no, you're attacked by shadow horses. I gotta get the thing that's only 2 apples to run away. There we go. Yippee! Gotta give them their mare energy back. Okay. Oh yeah, we were doing Lumina. Okay, let's do that. You come across a cute little silly mare. Hello there. Chirp. Did you just chirp at me? Chirp, chirp, squawk. You threw in a squawk that time too. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Whoa, you seem extremely silly. The mare makes a few hoof gestures that you assume mean something along the lines of "stay right there." You nod curiously as she turns it back for a few moments, clearly busy working on something that she doesn't want you to see. After a short time, she turns back with a drawing of you in her mouth. It looks like she drew you as her friend. This drawing is...
Let's go with thoughtful.
Thoughtful. That is so thoughtful of you, little chirpy mare. I will cherish this in your friendship forever. Chirp. Yippee. Okay, I think we're running a little short on time. I'm gonna try to get to the next cutscene and we'll try to get through that. So let me just speed run. The Southern Badlands. They're like Southern lands, but bad. This place is really scary. What we got? What are we saying in response?
Well, maybe don't worry, my friends. As long as we stick together, we'll be okay.
You're so right, Quinoa. As long as we have each other, we'll be okay. And they like that. I wonder what the difference about this place will be compared to the desert. Well, no mares would ever live here. Oddly, seems to be a lot of food lying around, though. I'm worried that there'll be more shadow horses, too. It's pretty likely. They seem to like the darkness, and it looks like it's always cloudy here. Well, hopefully we find the Tact of Destiny soon enough. Maybe we can all go out for ice cream once you get your memories back.
Yummy.
Yummy. I'm gonna get some Choco Choco chip. Ice cream sure does sound good right now, but first you'll have to find the tack of destiny and get your memories back. You take a step forward and journey onward. All right. We need apples. Isn't lying that we'll get a lot of food down here. Whoop, I want that one. Okay, all right. Uh-oh, shadow horses. I think I might just run away, though. Oh, crap. I forgot to plug it in. I don't. USB-C. Yep, Pink Ganon to the rescue. Okay. Oh no, come on, green apples. 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of lag. Okay. We're almost there. Let me try again. Yeah. Okay. Oh. I'm just gonna eat it. Almost there. We did it. Cool. Okay. So this will be the last cutscene we do, and then if we still have time, I think we might do like questions or whatnot. So, all right. You feel that the southern Badlands will never end as the Red Plains continue onward as far as the eye can see. You can tell that Liquid Belly and Funny Vapors are feeling exhausted, and you're starting to get skeptical that you'll ever find the tack of destiny yourself. Liquid Belly seems to pick up on your negative thoughts. Don't worry, Quinoa. If Greasy Scent was right, the cave where the tack of destiny is hidden should be somewhere around here. Why are ancient magical artifacts so darn good at hide and seek? What if this is all for nothing? What if we come this far and endured this much and you suddenly spot a cave matching the description that Greasy Scent, given by Greasy Scent across the rocky landscape? You feel a rush of excitement and point to your hoof at the finding. Liquid Belly, Funny Vapors, look over here. Your two friends look to where you're pointing and cheer. Hey, hey, hey! That is exactly like the cave that the tack of destiny should be in, I think. No, you're right. It does. You found it, Quinoa. I think you're right. I'm not so sure. I did find it. I'm the best.
I think you are right.
Woohoo! Now you can go get your memories back. And they like that. The three of you run over to the cave entrance and cautiously make your way inside. The cave walls are riddled with damp stalagmites and stalactites, as well as a few magically enchanted torches. Hopefully no other mare took it. Well, we're about to find out. Liquid Belly points her hoof down one of the cavern passages. You see an old chest tucked away at its end, illuminated by some kind of glowing magical aurora. Ooh, pretty. That has to be it, just like Greasy Scent told us. You and your friends trot excitedly over to the chest. Your anticipation grows with the thought of the tack of destiny lying within. You walk up to your objective and place your hoof on top of it, feeling a pleasant and reassuring warmth radiating from within. You look over at Funny Vapors, who gives an eager nod and smiles, beckoning you to proceed, and I want to boop her. With a deep breath, you open the lid. With your delight, the tack of destiny lies inside with all of its glory. A beautiful dark yellow artifact that is a wonder to behold. Ooh, really pretty. This is it. We found it. Incredible. We're adventurers now, too. We're like the three Musketeers. Liquid Belly giggles heartedly, and you can't help but smile. So this is it. After traveling all this way and after everything we've been through, we're finally here. Are you ready, Quinoa? Let's see. Are we ready? What are we thinking?
Are mares cute?
Yes. Yes, they are. You nod, pick up the tack of destiny, and proceed to put it on. To your surprise, it practically weightless and conforms to you without an ounce of resistance, as if you were made to wear it. Whoa, Quinoa, you're so pretty. You remind me of a cute mare wearing the tack of destiny. You try to focus hard to see if you can remember anything, but nothing apparent comes to mind. Is it working? Gabu, ga, glub, 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 glub. Wait, that is definitely not what you were trying to say. You squint as Liquid Belly and Funny Vapors' faces become somewhat blurry. Ah, she's speaking in tongues. She's speaking in mouths and lips too, but the words are super silly and don't make any sense. Quinoa, can you hear us? Don't move towards the light unless it's really, really pretty. Your friend's voice sounds echoey and faded, as if they're far away. You see a darkened vignette around your line of sight, the dark edges glowing slowly around the center of your vision. A fear rises in your heart as your eyesight is completely overcome with darkness and total silence deafens your ears. You're about to start to panic. As you're about to start to panic, an image flashes before your eyes. Huh? It looks like
an ancient underground temple.
The image flashes in your mind, more vivid and persistent. You're right. It's some kind of temple in a cave. You see a mare run into the cave temple. Moments after, two more mares run into the temple, seemingly chasing her. There's something odd looking about the three of them, but you can't quite place it. Despite her two pursuers, the first mare makes her way to the temple center towards an altar with a large crystal hovering magically above it. As she steps up to the crystal, she turns around. You realize what struck you as odd about her. She has both wings and a horn. The other two mares do too. They're all alicorns. The first mare angrily shouts something indiscernible, and what little light remains in the cavern soon recedes drastically as if it is absorbed by her words. Her eyes begin to burn with fury, and her mouth snarls in anger. Her demeanor chills you down to the little mare bones. The two other alicorns stall before her in a moment's hesitation before stepping forward to continue their pursuit. The angered alicorn turns towards the crystal and unleashes a spell upon it, causing it to disappear from the temple. She then quickly turns back and fires the spell at the two other alicorns. The blinding light of her magic illuminates your field of view until all you can see is pure white landscape. After a few moments, a familiar-looking mare flashes before your eyes. She says something which makes your heart stop as you recognize it to be your true name, the one you had forgotten. As the familiar-looking mare fades with this realization, the scene slowly transitions into what appears to be fragments of memories you had since forgotten. You see images of the warm smiles of friends, place of tasty food before you, sunny and rainy days of some significance you can't quite place. And while you're fully cognizant that the images you are seeing are your memories, you can't help but feel tears well up in your eyes. You didn't expect to remember everything in your life, but what is playing before you without context just makes you want to reach out for more, to grasp meaning behind these scenes which feel so distant and foreign. And as you begin to cry, the scattered images slowly fade into the faces of Liquid Belly and Funny Vapors standing over you with worried expressions. You notice that they must have carried you out of the cave to get some fresh air. Oh, Quinoa, are you okay, you poor thing? Shortly after you flopped over, the tack of destiny locked itself back in that chest. We were so worried about you. Did you see anything super cool? Funny Vapor, she's crying. What could possibly be super cool about that? I did remember things, but...
These tears are of laughter. Ha ha ha.
Quinoa, we're not that dumb. We can tell when you're upset. You snort, not wanting to show weakness and admit that Liquid Belly is right. So I saw something else, but it was like watching a movie rather than a memory. It was very vivid. Ooh, was it cool? Story time. Well, I saw 3 alicorns. They were in the temple with a big floating crystal in the center. One of the alicorns was really angry about something that made the crystal disappear or teleport away with a spell. An alicorn? That's strange. Is that like when you're munching on a corn on a cob and suddenly drop it between 2 buildings? No, not alicorn. An alicorn. It's a mare with both Pegasus wings and a unicorn horn. I've heard of them, but I thought they were stories for little fillies. Well, they might be just stories, but like I said, that particular vision felt real, but it didn't really seem like a memory. There was something else. Ooh, mare drumroll. Mare drumroll. At one point, I heard my name. Quinoa? No, my name before I met you two. I remembered what it was. Wow, that's amazing. So what is it? You must decide.
Say your name and keep it.
Say your name and keep it. My name is Soft Oats. If you don't mind, could you two call me that instead of quinoa? Soft Oats? I never pictured you as a Soft Oats. Soft Oats is so much easier to remember. Oh, that's a typo. Whoops. So about the alicorns, do you think they're important? The alicorns, 'tis a sign. The 3 of you jump in surprise and turn to see a mysterious mare standing behind you. Whoa, who are you? And how long have you been standing there? My name is of no importance, for what is truly a name in the grand scheme of things. I have been watching you closely since you've entered the southern Badlands. Why didn't you say hello? Hellos come and hellos go, but the mare quest is forever. This mare is super silly. What did you mean when you said the alicorns are a sign? To mean or not to mean? That is the question. The answer lies within the recent tide of darkness upon the lands. You think Soft Oats' vision is related to the shadow horses? What I think is irrelevant, but what I know to be true is the nature of where the vision occurred. The cave temple? What you speak of is a real place, though how can one be sure of reality? Alas, I think, therefore I err. What does this have to do with me, though? Forces beyond your control connected you to these places and events. You, like I, are a key to the door of happenings and shadow. Seek out your vision as you must. So you think we should go to this cave temple thing? How do we get there? Far north from here, there's a vast snowy taiga. The temple resides there. That sounds super far away. I hope you're not pranking me right now. I do not lie about these things, for I stand behind this. Oh, I got one of these too. How about that? The mysterious mare lifts her hoof, revealing a small crystal. A faint light shines from inside of it. Ooh, pretty. Beauty doth be within the eye of the beholder. The light inside this gem shall show you the way, the same as it showed me. Long have I awaited so. How can you be so sure it will lead us there? Its power is the same as one of the 3. It is not some mere trinket. It shall do as I have said. One of the 3? The 3 great ones who hold our world together, one of sun, one of moon, and one of crystal. You know she's telling the truth. While you cannot remember everything, these 3 she mentioned strike a particular chord with you. You know that you have heard this somewhere before. Liquid belly, funny vapors. She is telling the truth. They are coming. A menacing drone sounds across the valley. You look over, see a large cloud of black smoke moving unnaturally fast your way. Shadow horses! That cloud is huge. There must be a gazillion of them. You turn back to the mystery mare hurriedly. As you do, she tosses you the crystal, so you barely manage to catch it in your mouth. You drop it into your hoof and look back at her. There's too many of them. You need to get out of here. Come with us. This is your quest. My place is here. Are you cuckoo bananas? This place is spooky and terrible. And yet I must remain. A wise mare once said, today is the greatest day of my life, and each day is better than the last. That's nice and all, but if you don't leave, it could be the last day of your little mare life. Then I have lived as few dare to dream. I will lead them away from you. This has always been my task. Now go, fly, you fools. But not all of us are Pegasi. She means for us to run away. With a nod, the brave mare turns from the 3 of you and runs towards menacing black smoke. You are astounded by her willingness to assist you and your friends while barely even knowing you. You look over at Liquid Belly and Funny Vapors, who are dumbfounded as well. But the 2 of them did the same for you. They both traveled to the end of the world with you on a whim to help when you were in need. Things may not went as expected, but they have stuck with you through thick and thin out of the goodness of their kind spirits. And maybe it's a long shot, but if the mystery mayor was right, you might have an opportunity to figure out where these shadow horses are coming from and how to stop them. And protecting a world full of kind-spirited mayors is a risk worth taking, or is worth taking that shot, right? She's giving us a chance. We can repay her by finding where these shadow horses are coming from and stopping them. Are you with me? I'm sick of all these gosh darn shadow horses. Of course I'm with you. I'm with you too. We can't live happy mayor world without them running amok. You nod and take one last look at the mystery mayor running far away. I hope you'll be okay. Thank you. You, liquid belly and funny vapors, begin to run north to find the temple from your vision. And that's where we'll stop, like 1 minute out of time. Yeah, so that was Mayor Quest, an interactive tale. There's also a first game. The games are related. There's 3 endings to Mayor Quest, an interactive tale. The bad ending, neutral ending, and good ending. I recommend to do it in that order. The bad ending, you just beat it with no friends. Neutral ending with 1 friend, and the good ending with both friends. But they all you only get the real big picture of what's going on with all 3 endings. And yeah, here's the Mayor Quest mayor again. Official Mayor Quest mayor. And friends, wait. Oh. Horse. Oh, I tried to pause it. Well, I think we're over time, but you know, as I'm wrapping up, if anybody has any questions they want to ask, just feel free to come up. If there's any more codes in the box, feel free to grab them. And thank you all.
So I have a quick question. Was there any particular inspiration, or what made you make the first Mayor Quest, and then what made you move to the second one with more story to it?
I don't know. I just like to make things.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on. Wonderful. Hi, GalaCon. Pleasure to be here again. I still have one thing to sort out, so just before, well, I guess we already began. Are you okay if I take a picture of all of you with Sweetie in front? Yes. Wonderful. Yeah, no, not yet. I hope she will, but unfortunately for now, not quite. I'll be careful not to bump the screen. And there we go. Thank you. Wonderful. So, with that being done, I won't need this phone anymore. Up. Please give me 1 extra minute. I'm terribly sorry. I had an unforeseen breakdown right before the panel. Her, thankfully. Because when I do, she can't fix me. So wait for a few, I can't. That's on my end. Don't worry, it's normal, there's nothing on the screen. Wow, it's normal, there's nothing on the screen. I just need to put one last setting in place. There we go. And now we should be ready to roll. Almost. Huh. Yep. There we go. There we go. So now we should have there, up, and that. And now, if everything is going well, are you getting the input from my computer? Ha ha ha. Yeah, I made.
Yes.
I did. Well, I mean the slide is appropriate at least. Huh. I'll try. I need 2 things to do this panel, a working robot and a working PowerPoint. And the working robot is a bonus. Yeah, it did work right before. Ha! I broke everything again. Broken! Woo! This time it's the room that's broken. Progress! Yeah, it's possible. I have to carry a... I don't know, I'm emitting interference or something. Every electronics in like a 10-meter radius just stops working. It should. I'll try to swap the ports, maybe.
It's doing things.
It's trying at least. Oh!
Now it has done the thing. It's trying now.
Ooh! And if I even do Yep. And that means I should be, oh yes. So, we should as well be hearing something. Is it loud enough? I don't know if there is a way to bump the volume for my computer a little bit. It's at the maximum here. Oops, no. We're still making sure everything works fine. Perfect. I just wanted to make sure the sound worked. So, yeah. No? Okay, why isn't... Ah, that's why. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, everyone. Who's ready for round 2?
Well, that's not what I was expecting.
Okay, everyone. Who's ready for round 2?
I guess we're gonna have to make with it. We're not spending an extra 5 minutes to get her voice right. So who's ready for round 2? Woo! Except so yeah, welcome to the panel, how to try to upgrade your own pony robot and fail because you keep tripping on 5 years of lazy hacks you never bothered to redo properly. And somehow still convincing the relevant authorities to recognize this is your legitimate self-employed job. Welcome aboard. So, a quick reminder on last year's panel. And just to check, can I go back with the mouse? No, that's no worries. So I had a lot of ambition and planned projects. So I wanted to get her 100% reliable, get her a voice, that's done. And I swear the choppy voice is not my fault, for once. To be fair, everything else is. I wanted to clean up her files and make her open source, make her a YouTuber, turn her into a drone and make her fly, build a scooterbot and an applebot, articulated legs. The sound system, well, it sort of happened, but not really. So what did happen? Well, now she can swivel her hips. What do you think of that? I mean, at least, to be fair, the head now works. What else? She does drive better, even if the noise isn't really better. Well, we're dealing with it now. It's staying on the ground. And also, yeah, there's a problem. I'm gonna have to fix that when I get home, but so what happened? And oh yeah, right, that happened. Last year, I did a little bit of joking around with this, but now we are gonna have no choice but to embrace it. This panel is sponsored. So, table of content. Wait, no, before that, I will have to joke a lot about my DHD. What are you doing? I'm gonna joke a lot about my ADHD, mostly the taking decisions on impulse, often stupid, and planning. But this is not medical advice, and everything I'm going to attribute to my ADHD might as well just be me being dumb. This is not medical advice. So, table of content. I'm gonna talk about sweet-rated progress and challenges, mostly challenges on number 1. Number 2 is gonna be a short explanation for my self-employment. I'm gonna try to articulate a bit better. Number 3, you're gonna witness my GalaCon prep from Monday of this week. Strap, it's gonna be intense. Number 4, you're gonna see a preview of a video. And number 5, well, a preview of a video. And number 5, what I'm planning for the future. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Did my mama, did that just die as well? Let's go. So a quick reminder, I am self-taught. You can see it 2 ways. This could mean, yeah, I'm self-taught, I'm so good. But mostly, I'm saying it like, I'm self-taught. I don't know what I'm doing. Or I don't know what I shouldn't be doing. Prime example, last year I bored you for 5 minutes talking about how I had to implement a way to cut, to divide a byte into bits in order to encode bits into a byte with formulas and functions in order to slim down a program. And I had to do it all by hand because, of course, I had to. What do you think? Arduino wouldn't make a ready-to-use function to do that. So that's what I meant. I know how to do things, but don't take what I tell you as a tutorial on how to do things right. This function is awesome, by the way. So I got her driving. Sort of. Her neck is working, as I showed previously. And I recorded a few winter videos. One about her neck. One about her feeding birds. And I can't wait to share that one with you. One about her braving the snow. Water is a lot less scary when it's solid. And one about going to a hot air balloon festival. And before you ask, yes. Wait, no, she's supposed to say that.
And if you're wondering, yes, he did screenshot this from my last video.
I'm very lazy. So if you haven't seen it, I released a video during last week. Remember, it was my GalaCon prep week, so that might be a clue as to how I make poor choices. But yeah, if you have seen this video, you might have a little bit of deja vu because I had to do a bit of recycling. Anyway, last year I also forgot to link you to her YouTube channel, which is brilliant for a panel about her having a YouTube channel. This year, you have no excuse. Wait. There we go. So if you want 5 minutes to scan the QR code and subscribe, there you go. Searching for it works as well. 5, 4, yeah! 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. I see some people still have their phones out. -3. There we go. So job. I want to make something clear. There's one thing we Swiss are good at, and it's following rules. And I want to make it clear that this is now really, officially, my part-time job, somehow. Self-employed. I'm not going around the rules. Like, I didn't go around any rules to make it happen. I'm following the rules to the letter, but I made a robot unicorn. I don't know how to build my part-time job. No matter how I explain it, it sounds like I'm making fun of the rules. So, to get a self-employed job registered in Switzerland, you need two things. You need accounting in order. So I did a lot of accounting. I really had to sort through all of these, plus way more. This photo is really how I felt. It required like 2 all-nighters. And a terrifying number at the end. But it also requires another thing. So the accounting was in order. I needed another thing. Clients, plural. So I had my wonderful Patreon supporters, and if some of them are in the room, they're going to be able to go home with their license plate, signed. I also have the last 2. Hopefully I didn't forget one, because that would be terrible. But the problem is they all are in relation with me through one corporation, Patreon. So I wasn't sure if having multiple people on Patreon would be enough, or if I needed another client. So it was a bit of a problem. It's not like I had, I don't know, signed a contract with some sort of federation that does pony events to make a panel. So I want to add that wasn't planned. Like I didn't submit my panel to make her into a job. I was just very lucky. I somehow impulse decided, well, let's go a panel with a broken robot then. And so it went through, and SweetieBot is now my self-employed part-time job, in addition to being a primary school teacher. So that's a wild life already. It gets worse. I'm not going to put my hand in my pocket because the mic equipment is there. I'm going to break it. But yeah, that was nice, and it took like 6 months to get all the answers back, but my papers are in order. I'm a business. Woo! And that also means, well, first of all, that means I can get my boss to pay all the bills. Problems, I'm the boss. But it also means that now everything that is related to this beautiful machine becomes a business expense. Woo! And like that, way, tax write-off. And joking aside, that's really helpful to build a robot unicorn on a part-time primary school teacher salary. So thanks to my amazing Patreons, without who that wouldn't have happened, and thanks to the Pony Event Federation for giving me a panel last year. Without you, SweetieBot might not be here today. Well, obviously, but... So, back to 1. The list wasn't in presentation order. It was just to help you identify what I was talking about. Back to 1. So, SweetieBot progress, rest of the year. In early April, I attended to a pop culture convention in my home city for 4 days. That was luxury, because like here, I have to take my entire toolbox with me. But at home, I can like, my home is 10 minutes away. I can just go back, reprint, fix, and get back to the con. And that was a big convention, so I had lots of floor room to drive around, and field test 3D. What did I do? Option A. That was unreasonable, so I'm not going to do it. Option D. If I insist on going, it's an easy way to field test 3D. I can just go back home and like the entry is way cheaper than my plus ticket for GalaCon. I didn't get a t-shirt in the meantime, so that's better at GalaCon. But I could do it reasonably with my unstable finances, because I remind you at that time the self-employment was still pending. Option H. I let you guess what will be the final letter. You know, SweetieBot commissions are really cool for a video backdrop. Or option D2. How about I try to design 3D print and install new untested foldable legs that surely won't break? And destroy a perfectly working charging circuit by trying to redo it properly? That's the theme of the theme of this presentation. I let you, yeah, of course. That's the acronym. I let you guess what happened. But there's still one question pending. Why did I want foldable legs in the first place? Second question, do you know how expensive parking in a Swiss city center is? Option AD Ultra HD. You bet my unicorn and I are biking to that convention. And I will add, I am not joking. So, fun fact, that trailer was like somehow the thing that held up the best, despite being designed, printed, and assembled in the same week left before the convention. I didn't take it with me because there was no space left in my car.
Can someone please send him help?
Preferably on Patreon.
Dad!
Okay, okay. So, rest of the year. You know me. Let me introduce you Sweetie's mom. My use of gender here is very questionable. Meet my 3D printer, the CCR10 with 2 C's. It's a 6-year-old printer that I upgraded to oblivion with a diamond-tipped nozzle that we can't see well. So that was a well-spent $80 on AliExpress. 2 power supplies, and somehow a gear selector. 3D printers are not supposed to have a gear selector. Mine has one. The quick explanation is, for example, do I have any? Yeah, these parts right here, the one that hold the dome lights, are symmetrical. So I could just do 2 models symmetrically, or I could flip one of the axes to print the same model twice, but in reverse. What did you expect? So, to keep going, I'm gonna tell more about this 3D printer in future videos, like hopefully in the very near future, because one thing technically I just need to bridge 2 wires to get it working. That printer can be powered by this SweetieBot, like in the middle of the forest. That will be cool. Anyway, so obviously I took SweetieBot to school. That's not even like an extra stupid decision, that's just my life. To let the kids drive her. And obviously, I needed to add a safety feature, an emergency remote control switch in case a children was about to slam her into a wall, or in case, I don't know, she lost radio signal or just started driving into people. And I will not demonstrate that kill switch.
He forgot the kill switch at home.
So that's a very useful safety feature. Next time. And we are now entering a low effort segment because I have no idea how long my panel is. Okay, we are still in check, that's good. I'm gonna go talk about my week prep for GalaCon. And you are about to get in my shoes fast. Monday. My car's power windows and trunk unlock are not working, which is bad because I need to get Sweetie into the trunk. Which option will I pick? Option A, check the car fuses. Option B, replace the blown fuse. Option C, watch a tutorial on how to fix the problem. Or, no, wait, option H. Option D, 2, take the entire rear door apart with the hope to somehow crank that window back up. Okay, so I wasn't completely dumb. I did option A. Problem, the fuse wasn't blown. So, obviously I jumped straight to option D2. I don't know how to take apart car doors, by the way. This is my first time. Before I did option H, which showed me I checked the wrong fuse, which I could replace and everything was back in working order, except so I got the door reassembled, and it's now Tuesday. The car speakers are now stuttering at high volume. Just like Sweetiebot, but worse. Like, unlistenable. But like, it's music, it's just comfort. I can not fix that. I could just be checking that Sweetie doesn't have worn down gears that would impede her motion and make a terrible noise. Or if I really need music, I can just grab a Bluetooth speaker. But you know, maybe the problem is in that door I just reassembled. It was. That's the speaker connector inside the door, and the tiny little connector got loose. It got a bit damaged when I don't know what happened. But it got a bit, mysteriously, it got a bit damaged, so the connectors were like brushing against each other, and every time there was loud bass, I think it shorted them together and shorted the entire sound system. So a bit of glue, and everything was back in working order, except I had to reassemble the door again. And that little hook loves to unhook itself from the door hinge. That falls into the door at the slightest wrong move, and these fixation pegs just kept falling as well. I reassembled that door 7 times. So now it's Wednesday. Except I lied. It's Tuesday. It's Thursday. I do not know where that missing day went, but it went there. What do we do now? Well...
But that's fine. It's not like you would impulse disassemble me for an overambitious update, right?
One day until GalaCon departure. So, a bit of context. This is Sweetiebot's new properly done chassis. And for real, like this was not improvised in 2 days. This has been at least a month in the works, with these parts being redesigned countless times to be solid. And as you can see, they are. So this will be Sweetiebot's next chassis, the carbon fiber tubes and the solid bars. Except, one day, I cannot update every single part of Sweetybot to fit properly on that new chassis with 1 day. So what if I just I mean, at least, I'm going to raise her head back, because at least this time, it works. Like, there's nothing, there's nothing wrong, except for the look and the fact that, yes, the old chassis is just bolted onto the new chassis. I heard Land Rover calls that a double chassis. Yeah, 2 is 100% better than 1. But that also means.
Phew, that saved us time. Like, it's noon. It's a bit short, but he has the whole afternoon to make his presentation. There's just one question left. Why is he reprinting my battery?
I don't know. So Thursday, 11 p.m. Battery pack re-engineering. And I swear, this was not done on purpose for this presentation to be entertaining. I somehow thought that was a good idea. So, the problem, I didn't put this slide in, but like Sweety's back wiring was a mess. The power wiring was secure, but I just did not know what was powering what in this rat's nest. And like, if there was a power problem at GalaCon with the wiring that I didn't remember how it worked, I can't fix it. So the mistake was not reassembling the battery pack. It was waiting until the night before to do it. So what will I do? Rushing it because I don't have time and end up forgetting a screwdriver in between the cells. Wiring the battery pack wrong and having to restart from scratch with already no time left. Killing the battery pack and power Sweetybot by draining my own life energy? Force, that's better. Or shorting the battery pack, shorting the battery, house fire, and I'm not here. Or, very uncharacteristically, wow. So yeah, even with that, I do not gamble with lithium-ion batteries. That is a bad idea. So anyway, Sweety's battery was going well along, and I knew yes? Yeah. Right here. Yeah, that was during assembly. It's the exact same battery. Okay, yeah. So the wiring is done safely. The wiring is safe. It's not necessarily cable managed. That also takes time, which I'll remind you, I didn't have. But that was also during assembly. Yeah? 6S, so on average 22.1 volt, I think, 2 volts, 22-ish, 25.2 maximum. I cannot. So, and also I learned from some past mistakes. You cannot work on a battery pack safely without sleeping. So when I felt I was getting tired, I slept. And we are now leaving in 5 hours. If you rework the power, you have no power to see whether everything is working or not. That gets quickly terrifying, and you feel like you are not getting any progress done, even when you are. So the wiring is done. We are leaving in 1 hour. What will happen? I wouldn't be here if option A was in order. And I'm still packing up tools. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Oh, wait. I also need stuff for, like, me. That would be smart not to forget. You know, maybe I should pack my 3D printer just in case! Okay, we hit the road. That was really an idea I had and I was determined to do. I haven't packed the spools. But my friends talked some sense into me and I didn't pack the 3D printer. We are arriving in 30 minutes. I called the hotel to let them know we'll arrive in 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's the problem with leaving 2 hours late. We arrive at the hotel. It's time to work on Sweetie.
You mean time to go to sleep?
Who's right? Ah! I hate when you agree with her. Anyway, so it is now Saturday, the first day of GalaCon. 6 a.m. Have you ever, that's a problem we all grappled with, have you ever finished wiring your unicorn when her headlights were broken? Like on your hotel room balcony early in the morning? I have. With this fancy oscilloscope multimeter paid for by my Patreons. Thank you. Yeah, these guys are really lifesavers, and I really want to express my thanks. But yeah, so the first of her headlights was, the first of the LEDs just decided to stop working. So it was not sending any signals to the following one, which is the entire headlights. That's why this LED is blinking green. It's not supposed to, but now the entire headlight assembly is shifted 1 LEDs. And I didn't fix it because I didn't have time. Anyway, we should be able to make it to the opening ceremony. I didn't say the entire opening ceremony. Thanks, Perry, for dragging it on a little bit. So I got to the opening ceremony. Ah, wonderful. Oh, I'm going to need you to send it to me. That's awesome. But yeah, I did spend a bunch of time on that parking lot, though less than last year. Yeah, back to the parking lot. Because one of the legs wiring ripped itself off as I unfolded her to transport. I'll show you that later if I have time. And also I needed to fit these amazing swiveling dome lights. I love these. But yeah, so a bit of time. Also, I wanted to make commissions of SweetieBot, and I didn't have time to put her tail back on, which would be a bit problematic when artists ask me to take pictures to do the commission. So I had to put the tail back on. Did I succeed? Well, if she doesn't spin, you will never know. What is happening? Why is that? Oh, wow, okay. That feels broken. Well, too bad. Yeah, I just disconnected it to see if it would run better, but it doesn't seem to. I'll fix that at home. Speaking of, I think that might be this one, actually. Because it turns out one of SweetieBot's gears, the one that made the horrible noise, so I think that's this one, is like sanded down. I should have packed my 3D printer.
No, you should have gotten started on fixing me like Monday.
Who's right? Damn! Well, to be fair, the 3D printer packing is a wonderful idea for like next year, but it would have been a terrible idea to like improvise when already leaving 2 hours late. But I agree, it's a cool idea to prepare, which I am very good at. So, 1:30 p.m., finally back to GalaCon. A full 6 hours earlier than last year. Woo! We are making progress. I still have to get better at, like, you know, taking photos of the actual fun happening at GalaCon. But I'm going to have to fit that camera onto her as well someday. But yeah, thanks a lot to all of you who I met. That was really a pleasure. And coming to GalaCon every year is incredible. Thank you. Although you might, the particularly observative viewers might have noticed I was forgetting something. Again, when you feel you are tired, it's best to not spend 2 hours doing 10 minutes of work. So, you guys laugh easily. Like, I didn't even say anything. Like, okay, just for testing, I'm gonna tell a fact. Like, there's no way this sentence has anything funny to it. Like, it's a perfectly normal sentence you could fit in any normal, non-funny conversation. If you laughed for this one, it just means, like, I'm not that funny. You guys are just easy to make laugh. So, Sunday, 10:30 p.m. I drove my friend to the Porsche Museum. I promised him I'm a man of my word when it doesn't require self-discipline. Anyway, after that bit of time that was... Yeah, no, wait, wow, AM. AM. Speaking of, my friend that's sitting somewhere like in this area, I call it the G, even though he has nothing to do with the G that's on the planning. It's another G. So my dear G was an inspiration that completely solved one of my problems. You might notice Sweetie Bot looks a bit weird with like the super wide chassis. It looks like she has buff elbows. Am I the only one to see that, or do you also see the buff elbows? Oh yeah. At first I was like, let's not rip the mic off. At first I was like, that's just the temporary fix for the chassis on chassis, that's not staying. Then I asked my friend to help me pack her into the car. And like, it's easy, you just unlock the leg and fold the leg. Except he went further. That's unicorn, and I didn't realize that. Up. That's an amazing feature. Well, there we go. Oh yeah, thanks. Well, that unicorn now folds into a cube. Well, like that. Let's go. That might be a bit creepy. Maybe. But also, well, this one also doesn't want to. Voila. There we go. That looks like a bit creepy, but also like I was looking for a way to store her compactly, and I was wanting to do twice articulated leg that could fold neatly like that. This works. I just saved 3 weeks of work. Thanks, G. Anyway, what's the next slide? All right, I'm just going to let you enjoy the next slide and keep talking while I put her back together. Noon. Fun fact, this exact McDonald's is the very McDonald's I prepared last year's presentation on the very morning of the presentation. Good habits die hard. Except this one, I didn't start working on the presentation at McDonald's. There is progress. Up, and there we go. Where's the last? There. Yes. There we go. The headlights will have to get an upgrade as well. Like everything else except the new chassis. Anyway, yeah, she works. So, I finished the presentation. All the slides were in there. And I had an hour and a half to spare.
Wasn't I supposed to, like, talk on the panel?
My panel starts at 1:30 p.m. I have to be there at 1:15 p.m. to prepare. This is 1:05. I am sitting in my car recording Sweetie's lines, rolling up the windows when I need silence, and then rolling them back down because it gets hot quickly in a car in the sun. So like, zzz, record the line, zzz, look for the next slide, zzz, record the line. Zzz. That was super fun. Perfect. Anyway, I'm gonna rush a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. And now, you can call me a prophet. Wait, I really hope I spelled Perry right. I didn't edit that. What do you think? Am I right? We'll see. Not on the trip. That, like, with one hand on the wheel and one hand on the screwdriver, doesn't feel a good idea. But yeah, I can't wait to be at the charity auction. Anyway, future plans. For real. I really need to make her modular on open source because I keep having to retro-engineer my own work. I forget how I did her. So I'm gonna need to make everything like super well documented. So a complete beginner, or like me after not touching the code for 6 months, can easily figure out what it's about and how to edit it. So like, yeah, she is going to be open source, but contrary to last year, this year I realized I needed to do it if I wanted to go further, because that's what I said at the beginning. I keep tripping on the stuff I never bothered to do properly. That leads me to learning to do the stuff properly. Sweetie, and the tools I use to recycle Sweetie, to build Sweetie. Recycle is, it's to build Sweetie. And this, you notice this was also on the back of my bicycle. It has everything to mount it on the rear of it. I'm not gonna pick that up. I'm gonna try to get a Prusa Mini for free. Because like Prusa is hosting a contest about robotics. I have a robot. It's a cool robot. Except Prusa's contest is based on this robot, which I only have printed the frame for now. And you have to make modules for it. So my module will be a custom back with a custom seat belt to mount the robot onto SweetieBot. And that will be my entry. And I will do a video about it. I will pick that up. And I will try to get Prusa to offer me a sponsorship so I can mount the Prusa Mini in the back of SweetieBot. That would be cool. I'm gonna try. It might not succeed. We'll see. Spring cleaning, I haven't added a photo, but like I need to get organized as well. That's vital. Recycling plastic. I have like 20 kilos of waste plastic and failed prints sitting in the basement. I'm starting to run out of space. Somehow get more Patreon supporters after I expose myself as whatever I described in this presentation. I'm forgetting something. Making videos. I only make one in like 6 months. And it was a 3-minute video. So yeah, that's reassuring. I want to reassure you. I am past the point of giving up. That's reassuring. Like this unicorn has too big a place in my life for me to give up. I will keep working on her. The thing I now need to learn is to make videos while I work on her. To make content, like people actually want to watch. With a schedule, it's hard. And I need to make videos so I can get better at making them faster. Like my last 3-minute videos took 3 weeks to make because I did a lot of mistakes. Fun over being broken, but like that's routine at this point. Don't be afraid of going off topic. Like my other projects works, fixing my car, if I can make it fun. Spend my money responsibly. Wait, no. Building unicorns is a terrible waste of money on its own. If that's the case, I might as well buy connected glasses on AliExpress. Welcome to the future. I know I have projects for these. I will make SweetyBot-based improvements with these. Only like mount a thermal camera at my shoulder so I can see if something is overheating live. I'm rushing, I'm almost at the end. But yeah. And I now have a video preview, except there's a twist. The video is being recorded right now. And you are going part of it if you agree. I just want to, if anyone wants to be blurred, I want the people who want to be blurred to raise their hand. If anyone wants to. Okay. Noted. So I'm gonna play Sweetie's audio because I will do how not to prepare for a con video. And I want you to react as soon as SweetyBot asks you directly. I'm just going to place her like in front of the camera. Oh, that broken wheel is like unexpectedly perfect. And there we go. Are you ready? I want you to react. So she's gonna tell something to the camera, then she's going to tell you something, and then she will like leave a 5-second blank and tell you another thing. Ready? And I'm just going to get like there. Perfect. So, camera, there we go.
Going this off topic is a bit experimental, so make sure you let me know what you think of it in the comments. Or like, I could just ask you. Everyone, were you expecting me to talk about car problems for 10 minutes? And were you entertained?
And was it entertaining, she said. Yes. Woo! Okay. Wait. All right. So, once Sweetie is a bit more reliable, I need to learn how to build a drone before I build a drone. Like, I can't not do a 10-kilo drone properly. It has carbon fiber swords and stuff. I need to get the hang of it, building something that has plenty in common with a drone, but like same control, same safety, same components, but not the hazards of, flying and spinning around carbon fiber swords. Like some sort of maybe a strong chassis optimized to overload test anything? You can applaud. She's turned off, she doesn't know. So yeah, I haven't told her for now. I fear she's going to be a little jealous. But once Sweetie is a little bit reliable, I will try to build a grounded drone for testing. And of course, a grounded drone. It's fitting. Anyway, oops, I just realized I'm going to need to be quick because next slide. So there's one last slide left, and I hope I have like 2 minutes to take one question. Whoops. This is my new record. And there is 0 minutes left. Can I take like one question or? Okay, perfect. So if there's one question, a meaningful question, that I can answer quickly. Oh. Yeah. That is a really good question, actually.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, so I'll do it fast, but that's something I've thought deeply about. I will be rolling around after, so if you want to hit me up in the corridors to ask me questions, you can, but please leave the hall quickly so I don't hold it for 30 minutes like last year. But yeah, the question was, with the new improvements in AI, ChatGPT and stuff, am I going to add that to SweetieBot? And for now, the answer is no. Because, no, that's not like out of moral conviction, because it's really hard. Plus, the SweetieBot project is already working on that. Like, they are working AI into their robots so it can talk autonomously. I don't know about navigating autonomously, but drive autonomously is sure, talk is sure. And my robot, my Sweetie, is more of an entertainment robot. So like, she's basically a remote control sock puppet. I want to optimize her to have a personality, yes, but a played personality. I'm happy with like recording recording her lines and playing it through an AI to get her voice for now. I love the idea of having like the two real SweetieBots do completely different things. One of them is a real robot taking itself seriously, and the other is broken. And also, like, I want to make that clear because I am putting a personality on display on her YouTube videos and on the presentation where she talked. And that's why I'm happy you asked this question for the only question, because I want to make it absolutely clear. The personality I'm scenarizing is not like a real work of technology. I don't want to make people think AI is more capable than what it is, like that somehow some dude made an alive robot in his room. I want to be as honest as I can on that for not like misleading people, which I feel like misleading with AI is going to get a lot more worse in the next few years. So I hope this will be a decision that has solid grounds. Thanks for the question. And
and hopefully see you next year.
So yeah, that's it. Just one info. I promised my Patreon supporters they could go home with their license plates. If they want to wait for me, can they raise their hands if there are any? I know there's at least one. Okay, then. Perfect. Here's yours. I will give it to you right after I make sure I'm not getting evicted.